The feud rages on. Donald Trump ripped into Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, and they fired back Tucker Carlson with an epic troll. After Trump called him low IQ, Tucker's got his number. He's releasing hats that you can buy and wear that say low IQ on them. That'll teach him. This is basically the biggest story in politics right now. I don't know if it's not really the first time it's ever happened. With DeSantis and Trump, you had that rift as well, and that healed, so we'll see. But of course, it is actually a rather slow news period. So with drama, this is what everybody wants to talk about. And I've been going off on Twitter. I've had a lot to say about the grifting, the lies, the manipulations, and the nature of the internet itself. So we're going to talk about that for the most part today on this amazing Friday. We're going to relax. We're going to have fun. We're going to have good times. So, of course, before we get started, my friends, make sure to go to castbrew.com and buy some coffee. If you want to stay awake, you can pick up Appalachian Nights, Rise with Roberto Jr. We got a whole bunch of different blends in the ground coffee, of course. Mary's Ghost Blend, s'mores flavor. We got coffee pods. We are expanding like crazy. Look at this. Cold brew concentrate. Look at that. Each little bottle is basically a cup of coffee. You can mix it with some water, lightly sweetened. And then, of course, pool water by the bottle. If you want to drink pool water, something's wrong with you. But if you want to drink pool brand water, then you are very smart. Also, join our Discord community at timcast.com. If you want to hang out in the backstage, pre-shows, behind the scenes, where we're saying very naughty things, it's available at timcast.com, and you'll be supporting the work that we do. So, my friends, smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, he's back. George Santos.
Boom.
Who are you?
Who am I? I don't know. Who are you?
That's a podcast host, and
I was gonna do a riff on the why are you gay?
well, actually, that's the question for you, George. Not me.
Who's gay?
Well, you are, but anyway,
I'm not gay.
Actually, I think everybody knows you.
I'm kidding.
Some people probably have more disparaging ways to describe you than others.
Yeah, I'm not everybody's favorite, but you know what? I don't give a fuck.
Oh, F-bombs early.
Right. Wait, they're
Sorry.
You didn't
Sorry.
read the rules?
Beep. Yeah. No, I do know the rules. Have you not
breaking them?
Yes. There you go. Who let children into the podcast?
We also have David Pollack hanging out.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Who are you? What do you do?
I ask that question every single day. I host David Pollack Primetime on the One American News Network.
Oh, right on.
Sweet.
Of course, Ian is here.
What's up, dog?
Got to have a wild card in the mix. We got Carter pressing the buttons.
What's up?
And Phil.
Hello, everybody.
Let's jump into the first story, a continuation of this ongoing drama. Tucker Carlson trolls Trump after president's furious nut job attack. I love this. So masterfully done.
So dumb.
Look at
I love Tucker, but so dumb. And I mean,
bro, look at this. I'm sorry, like,
what is that? I'm going to call Tucker and say, my friend, this is a bad idea. And I like Tucker. Tucker's a great dude to me. We don't agree. We've never agreed on pretty much. And that's fine. That's why I guess I have a great relationship and dialogue with him. This is stupid.
You think?
And I'm going to tell him that.
Dude,
this is
I have been saying
this is silly.
There is an effort to destroy the MAGA base. There's a coordinated effort. They've been trying really hard to make me anti-Trump. So, like, a bunch of prominent Trump supporters have been attacking me, putting me in the same camp as Tucker and all them. I kind of like, I look at this and I'm just going, is this an op? Like, do they not understand the optics of a bunch of conservative Tucker fans wearing hats say low IQ walking around?
It's really disturbing because most people don't know what this is in reference to. They just are going to see people self-promoting low IQ, and it's like, what? Tucker was baited into doing this, like with his own emotional reaction?
Bro.
No,
I'm like,
He thinks he's mocking.
No,
it.
there's
Tucker,
probably somebody on
listen.
his team. No,
yeah,
Tucker's
they're like, oh, that's a great
Tucker
idea.
called
Just
Trump after the post and was going, and they're laughing together at all the people stupid enough to wear these hats.
I mean, look, or there's that too, right? And we know that Trump will have a public spat with somebody and then kind of like...
Right, like Elon. No kiss and make up.
You know what I think? Has you ever been to Disney
plead the
World
fifth.
and you've seen the families that spend their year savings to take their kids to Disney World for a week, and then by like 3 o'clock, the kids are napping, the parents are sweating, everybody's screaming at each other, everybody's screaming and crying, "Shut up! We paid our life savings to have fun at Disney World. We're gonna have fun. Put these Mickey Mouse ears on and shut up. We're going to wait in line for 2 hours." I think where we are.
Tell me more about your life.
Right? I've been there. Trust me, I have 2 kids. I think where we are with MAGA is that, you know, I just saw a video out of Florida where a Haitian on temporary status beat a woman to death with a hammer.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're trying to deport
Lovely
people.
shit.
I think we are right now with MAGA is oh, okay, I guess let's just put aside all the terrible things we forgot about 2 years ago and what we were dealing with Joe Biden and January 6th people sitting in prison and, basically immigrants coming across the border and murdering people. And now we're like, can we just complain about Epstein and Iran? That would be great. 2026 is a few months away. Let's just complain about the stuff that everybody wants us to complain about and forget the fact that the Democrats want to put us all in jail.
To that point,
crazy.
Will Chamberlain had a great post. He said, border crossings are near zero, net negative migration, 95% reduction in asylum grants, lawsuits against a slew of woke university, DEI getting crushed everywhere, massive beneficial deregulation, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Venezuela turned into an American alley, and that's just off the top of my head. People continue to say that Donald Trump has done nothing. They'll swear up and down that he hasn't done anything. He's done nothing. He lied to MAGA. He hasn't done anything, and it's like, or they'll make the argument.
Did you put no tax on tips in there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Democrats.
Let's remind people. Yeah.
Democrats and some MAGA critical people will say, "Oh, well, there's no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans." That is just so patently false. I have to think you're an imbecile or just looking for clicks.
It's easy. I'm going to explain it. The reports came out a few weeks ago that right-wing content has dropped about 27%. So you'll notice two big trends. And earlier I had specifically called out Brandon Strzok, though I don't mean anything too heavily by it, Brandon. Don't get mad at me.
Oh, God. You're going to get a call.
Well, maybe, but he called me a retard for a joke post that I made.
Really?
So I responded with, if you look at Brandon's account, you'll see that he's doing something new.
He's doing the whole Colin Rugg style stuff.
It's just basically posting every minute a news clip or a viral video.
Yep.
And whereas he used to be commentary on the state of politics and walking away, now it's just generic news content, blast, 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 blast. A lot of right-wing personalities have started doing this because no longer are you getting retweets and views by saying something like, go Trump. There's two kinds of content that gets views right now, general viral and anti-Trump. So if you look at David Pakman as a great example, he made a video where he said Trump rushes out press conference after he pooped his pants. Never happened. There's no evidence of anything indicating it. Trump didn't change his clothes. Literally nothing happened. And the left just said it did. He made a video and he got 2.5 million views. I mean, that's going to be like $10,000 to $20,000 cash in pocket.
Yep.
So if you are a podcaster influencer, you are looking at your views drop because the right's in power. They're not fighting woke anymore. Woke is under the rug right now. So the only way to actually get traffic is general viral or anti-Trump. And what are we seeing? Candace Owens is the embodiment of this. First, she was a liberal with Social Autopsy. Then she was Red Pill Black. Then she joined the Daily Wire. Then she left to talk about Blake Lively. She was tracking top trends among people. And now she settled on Israel, anti-Trump, etc. She is just basically going to, according to Jeremy Boring, her words are, she will represent whatever the people believe. She is going to be their avatar. So when I see these people all going after Trump, the first thing I say is, yeah, if you're trying to get clicks on the internet and make money, you have to follow the trends. In the same time, when they accuse me of doing it and simultaneously claim I'm not relevant anymore and losing views, I say, okay, I am not going to pretend to hate Trump because I should have more views or whatever. I'm going to say what I think is true and what's going on.
Yeah,
I get a lot of...
No. Oh, well, some people will allow themselves to get baited into becoming the enemy that they're telling you are. That's their tactic, is they want you to become the fascist dictator so they can be like, hey, and they want you to, But I think the working hypothesis that I've got going on is 2016, 17, 18, 19, people kind of split up because we're criticizing the liberal economic order. Trump was red-pilling the world, telling them what it was, basically, the deep state. And so people started getting paid and building these networks to criticize each other and criticize aspects of each other's reality. Then we kind of resolved it with Trump's second election. Now people are still addicted to the money and the fighting, but the technocratic AI wants that. It's inciting it. Wait, hold on. Let me finish. With comments, it's getting people to continue fighting because if it comes in as an overarch, it's going to take over everything. It's going to be a technocratic dystopia. We cannot allow that with bickering.
You're half right. The people are addicted to the culture war fighting, but there's nothing to fight.
There's nothing to fight. That's my point.
Yeah.
we've won so much. There's nothing left to oppose, really. And now people are meandering like, oh, there's nothing to complain about. I'm just going to make
The best
stuff up.
the best they can come up with is Donald Trump told me that I was
Trump?
that Donald Trump told me that I was going to get tired of winning, and we haven't won enough where I'm tired of it.
Who wants to read this tweet that I posted?
I'll read it.
Someone read it?
After reading all the replies to my tweets, I've come to realize that I've been wrong about everything. Trump is demonic and a mad king. I should have seen it sooner. Israel has been controlling everything the whole time. I was blind. I apologize and hope that moving forward you will still consider reposting me on X and buying my coffee.
And that last line.
Sales gone up.
The point is, this is obvious to anybody with at least a couple brain cells to rub together.
Not anymore.
My joke is,
Half the world.
I apologize, please buy my coffee. The joke is, I'll say whatever you want, give me money. I'm making fun of these people. There are replies where they're like, oh, now you're trying to pretend to be anti-Trump? Nice try, Tim. And there are people being like, you should have called out Israel a long time ago, but I appreciate you're doing it now. It is a sea of retards.
Dude, I said I wasn't coming tonight.
You canceled, right?
I canceled on that post, and people are like, no, he's being sarcastic. I'm like, I know. There's like, I'm canceling tonight. And people are like, no, he's being sarcastic. Look at his video from the other day.
He's trolling.
I feel like there's a sense of empowerment.
Never bought it, never will, Beanie Boy. You're a grifter just like the rest.
There's like
Tim being sarcastic. It's just like, what?
There's a sense of empowerment from trolling the world, like Andy Kaufman style. But I've been trying to figure out if it's the right thing to do. I don't think it is because people without
Because you're no fun and you have no sense of
acting
humor.
like the villain to
No,
provoke a response so that they can seem like
hold on.
sarcastic.
Sarcasm
But using
is a
text.
normal thing in human discourse.
If there's tone, but without tone in text, it's not
Yeah,
readable.
bro, I don't care.
Well, that's the problem.
I read that in
No, it's not the problem.
You read it with sarcasm. 'cause you
Shame
know
on
it
you,
well.
Tim. Shame
I
on
am
you.
it is not my intention, nor do I care your reaction. The people who understand what I'm doing, it's who I'm speaking to. I think Michael Malice agrees with me largely on this one. We are not making these posts for a bunch of retards who go and have retard fights. This is for the sane, rational people that we are communicating with intentionally.
But the other people see it too.
So what?
Who cares?
That riles them up.
Bro, I am not a special ed teacher, okay? I don't exist.
We're all kind of special ed teachers posting on the internet.
Well, okay, fair. I do agree a little bit.
I don't make a concerted effort to be a good special ed teacher then, because I just say whatever comes to my little heart.
I'm
wanna
about
buy the
not
coffee.
playing. You don't want to play to the lowest
I've
common
actually bought
denominator.
coffee.
Bro, look at this. But look at
Keeps
this.
you wired up.
Look at this.
I can read this one.
Yeah, read it.
According to Tim Pool's description on the April 9th Timcast IRL, oh God, I can barely read this episode. Trump called him personally. Before the Truth Social post, Pool said Trump thanked him for the support, calling him a good nerd. No, it's his friend, a good friend. I can't read that.
And joked about the Fifth Avenue line. Trump laughed. Poole shared his live on air right after. No public confirmation or denial from Trump yet. Some viewers treat Poole's account as credible based on live recounting. Others question it without independent verification. Grok, there's threads just going crazy where Grok is like, Tim Poole did talk with Donald Trump on the phone. All based off of, look at this. It's absolutely psychotic.
What you posted.
Here's another one. Here's another one. Here you go.
Dude.
I love this.
I read a teleprompter.
Look what this guy said.
If you need me to read your tweets, you just let me know.
He might just stumble into it. I tweeted this. Dude, what if it turns out it was Trump the whole time with Epstein and Democrats had nothing to do with it? And my point with these posts,
That was great.
This gives me an example. This guy, Tizzy Ent, is a grifter. He is fake, okay? These people at the higher level know I support Trump, not all the time, but generally. And this is sarcasm mocking everything going on with people turning on Trump. They don't care about the context. They post it knowing that he's going to get 363,000 views.
But context means with text. There is nothing with it. It's just text. So there
This
is no tone,
post
there's no sarcasm.
exists in the context in
but
which it
hold
was
on.
conceived. It didn't just fall out of a coconut tree, Ian.
Yeah, but context indicates there's more than just text with the communication.
But Ian, you're missing the point. Tim's a communicator. He's on every single day, 7 days a week.
Well, I sometimes put stuff on the week. Well, no, yeah, 7 days a week.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
clips
7
on
days
the
a week.
weekend,
So 7 days a week for the last decade. I'm trying to be
decade.
general
Crazy.
right here.
Wow.
If you don't understand the tone in which he communicates with, then
But
you don't belong in that sphere. That's my
It's
Well,
not
it's
just
on
that.
Twitter. Like,
this tweet
Twitter
exists
never saw him
in a
before.
news cycle. There is contemporary context around this post, and that is Trump attacked Tucker, Candace, Alex, etc. They attacked him back. I made a post that was like, look at me, I'm calling out Trump. Anyone who saw this should know the context of what is going on in this conversation, and you would need to look at what Tim Pool is talking about. There was, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Patton Oswalt. 10 years ago on X.
Oswald. Oh my God.
He posted, I think it was Patton Oswalt. I'm not sure. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ricky Gervais. They posted, he was posting tweets in the replies. And so the first sentence was always really offensive. He would say something like, I think Hitler did nothing. And then, it would ... and then be followed up by redeemable. He's an evil man who should have been.
Yeah.
And those tweets would go viral. And he was making that. I can't remember who it was who did this, but the point was being
Pat Oswald. That's his. That's
you remember
his humor.
that?
Yeah,
Right.
I not only remember
And
that, but that
the full
I
statement
that, yeah.
was criticism of Hitler. But when you cut it off,
that was the 140 character era,
Right.
which is how Trump became so indomitable on Twitter, right? Like you couldn't really beat him because it was either one word answers to like whatever was in the context at that moment, or like these really short liners, and that's how he became so popular with the app. But I gotta say,
look at this one.
Trump is saving them.
Y'all don't get it. Trump is saving them. He's casting them out knowing that Democrats will come after anyone who supports him after the midterms. Trump is being magnanimous.
I thought that was
It was Kellen.
magnanimous. was
Yeah, I wrote
brilliant.
magnanimous, and then Kellen goes magnanimous. I was like, oh, that's too good.
That's so good. That's so good.
And there's, the funny thing is the people believe it. Now look right below it. So here's a tweet that if you did not read the context, it's me saying, no, Trump is good, right? Right below it. That does it. I am done. This is the last straw. I'm so angry. This one's got, 5 million views? 4.8 million views. All of these liberals are sharing this post being like, Tim Pool switched to the Democratic Party. Tim Pool's calling out Republicans, Democrat landslide, all of this stuff.
Well, when I saw that, I was like, I don't know if you're being true or not, and I'm not reading that garbage
I didn't
post.
even
Look,
say what I was angry about.
I know. I didn't
then
know
not just
I didn't know
that.
whether to believe it or not. If Kreisenstein pissed you off or if you liked it, I didn't know.
Well, not just
no,
that.
they're saying Trump pissed me off. The point is there is nothing in my statement to latch onto. And the point of this tweet is liberals are sharing it saying Tim Pool is mad at Trump, and conservatives are sharing it saying Tim Pool lost it over Ed
What's
Krasenstein.
happening is you're playing 3D or 4D chess with these people, outthinking them, but there's people that are going to see that have never even heard of the game.
No,
Hold on.
no. There's
And they're
people
like,
who are
what is he saying?
disingenuous who will pretend to not know what's going on.
And Ian.
and play that just like.
But I don't
And
follow the
Ian,
Twitter drama.
let me
I don't
help
care
you.
what Candace said.
Indeed.
I mean, I'm not really deep
and
in it.
then when I go on my show and explain how people are intentionally taking gags from this larger context for clicks, I can say, this proves it.
But that's just your audience that will see
Indeed.
it, and the other people, because they're not
And
refuse.
anyone is welcome
They're-
to-
They're real people that have actionable.
Who do you think he cares about talking to? He talks
The
to
human
his audience.
race?
But hold on.
His
But
audience.
my question is,
That's what I care about,
My
talking to
question
my
is,
audience.
my
Sorry.
question is, and what?
And if you aggravate people unintentionally, they can come. Like they can
Who's
do really
aggravated?
bad things.
Who's aggravated?
People that think that you're saying something you're not.
Who? What group?
I don't
Who
know.
is
You
those
just
people?
said liberals earlier. You said
And
liberals
conservatives.
were sharing it. People that are confused. I don't know.
Liberals and conservatives.
Yeah, and people might get
So
unintentional.
I have tweets that can functionally be viewed as either left or right. They're indiscernible, and you get left and right. Everybody's just fighting each other. My point being, these people are lying. They know that the context of these things is either trolling, joke, sarcasm, or vagaries, and they're engaging below in the tweets for no reason because they are fake. It's fake and gay. If the joke is, you go on X and say, "I like pancakes," and someone responds with, "What's wrong with waffles?" That's the point. Each and every one of these people responding, they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what's being said and why. They are just part of tribal fervor.
Well, you know what you're creating here, though? You're a weapons manufacturer here. And now you're like, well, I didn't intend
that
on
come
what they're
from?
doing with these weapons because what we
Well, no,
live in- maybe you do. But
I want to show people the weapons. Like, you talk about information. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
You talk about information vaccination, Ian.
Sure.
You've talked about how you've had to go to your parents and be like, listen, this story is going to come out. It's not true. Here's the real news. That way, when the TV comes on, they go, wait a minute. Because if they hear the lie first, they're less inclined to believe the truth after. With these posts, I have explained to people over and over again how the grifters operate. I largely think the people attacking Trump are doing it, not everybody, but it's because you don't get the clicks for supporting Trump like you used to. I can show these posts to people like your parents and say, look, and they're going to go, well, that's obviously a joke. And I'm like, then why did this guy claim it was the truth?
And but that's what was my point, the weapons manufacturing, because we started to see this, I don't know, maybe 9-10 months when Epstein first broke. It was right after Bindergate. You started seeing people go, ooh, there's an opportunity. And I think Bindergate was actually part of that, to create a narrative that can be used to make it people believe that, like we talked about before the show, that MAGA is split. See, the cracks are starting to show. And what has happened since Epstein, since Bindergate, has been this concerted effort. And you see people on social media, these what Rush called seminar callers, coming and be like, look, I voted for Trump. I loved Trump. I was a libertarian. I voted for Trump. But now I would never vote for him again because of Epstein, because of Iran, and because nobody's gone to jail for Crossfire Hurricane. And so what's happened is these posts, like you mentioned, are being weaponized by dishonest people, but it's creating a larger narrative that will be believed by retards.
So let me tell you something. Everybody keeps asking this question. Are these personalities getting foreign money?
That's a good question.
No,
I think
of course
so.
not. No.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not.
It's hard to track.
They're getting Democrat money.
Right, but where are Democrats getting money?
The Democrats.
I don't want to
been
be
saying,
sued, Tim, but I can tell you this. I know one specific influencer.
Who was they though?
Huh?
I
know one specific influencer who had a very stark opinion on Qatar. Went to Qatar, came back, and
I know exactly what you're talking about.
it's no. It's
There's
not
two
Tucker
people.
Carlson. It's not Tucker Carlson.
I think I know
I
you're
know
talking
who you're
about.
talking about.
And we're very good friends. And I haven't said anything, but
I
I'm
live in Texas.
No, actually, no, not from Texas. Not from Texas. And I sat back and I'm like, what happened? Like, you used to have a very sharp opinion on Qatar. You come back from this week random trip in Qatar, and now it's like Qatar, the land of make believe everything. Your kids go to a top Ivy League schools for free.
Here's the trick. Here's the trick. Remember when Tim Dillon got disinvited from Riyadh
Yeah.
because he criticized Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
They don't pay you to say things. They just offer to pay you. So if I said something like, George, we'd love to have you on the show once a month and we'll pay you a retainer for it. The idea there is I don't need to pay George to praise me. He just won't speak out against me because he doesn't want to risk a contract. These companies like Qatar, Israel, Saudi, whoever else, they don't pay people to speak. They don't put them on a payroll and say, I'll give you $7,000 for a post. They say, oh, we'd love to have you as a speaker at one of our events. We'll pay you $10,000. Then the person goes, I better not say anything bad about him because I don't want to lose
come
that.
back.
Exactly.
Well, that's the whole world I live in, right? So, even what I said to you earlier, right before we started recording, so I have different deals with different sponsors and companies, and obviously I can't speak about them or praise, let's say, the competition. But this is so much more than that, because this, in my opinion, goes into is there foreign influence here? Or is there a foreign influence trying to control the narrative of the news cycle in the United States? That's where I have an issue.
The answer is yes, but the Democrats have been talking for a long time, and we predicted this, that after the election, they said we need a Joe Rogan. In fact, some of the articles not only said, who is the liberal Joe Rogan? One of them hilariously said, we don't have a Joe Rogan. We don't even have a Tim Pool. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was funny because they're basically saying, like, I'm like a D tier podcaster. Like, I'm not as big as Tucker and them, but they're like, we don't even have that. But the point everybody made is you did. It was Joe Rogan and Tim Pool, but you are nuts. So here's the thing. We predicted at the end of 2024 during the election that they were going to dump tens of millions, hundreds of millions into buying up these shows to control narrative. When I see prominent personalities flipping on a dime seemingly overnight, I don't feel like it's organic. However, when you add into the mix that we know Democrat organizations needed to find a liberal Joe Rogan, why would they go to David Pakman? He already says what they want him to say. If they need to win a culture war, they don't need a liberal Joe Rogan, they need Joe Rogan. So what do?
Money
to the people who would speak out against you, who will now speak out for you.
But here's a one problem with that line of thought. Of the four mentioned in Trump's tweet, Tucker doesn't need it, any of it, right? And I'm not defending Tucker here, but again,
he's the heir to the Swanson fortune, right? Is he the heir to the Swanson fortune?
I don't keep up with his personal finances. I know he's not poor. Let's just
this is a big deal.
So my point here is Tucker doesn't need this. It's not money. Tucker's more of an
sorry. It's not correct.
It's not. Okay. So Tucker's more of an idealistic human being. So whatever he's saying, he truly believes. Now, when it comes to Candace, Megan, and Alex Jones, which Alex Jones, who I've called for years batshit crazy, I don't know why people ever gave him an ounce of credibility, especially after Sandy Hook, but I sit here and I speak for myself, and I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, but I think Alex Jones is certifiably insane. And then you have Megyn Kelly, who completely has lost her proverbial mind. I mean, the woman's obsessed with all the things that doesn't matter in reality to society. And then you have Candace, who literally has insisted Brigitte Macron has a penis. I mean...
Certifiable.
She does have a right hook.
No, my point being is what led Candace Owens to believe or suspect that Brigitte Macron had a penis?
That's my question, because you said Tucker probably believes what he said. You actually said you believe.
I don't think Candace believes what she
But the
says,
thing
though.
is, why do people believe what they believe too? Because maybe they're lying, maybe they're
No,
not.
I
But
think
why
she
are they
believes what's
believing
going to give
these
her
things?
money. No,
Yeah.
you're missing the point, Ian. She wants money.
She wants
that's
status.
why.
She
Status,
wants
money, notoriety.
Yeah.
Did you know that Candace Owens right now, I have an entire
Relevance?
crew. Well, no, it's more to it. I have an entire LA-based publicity company. Like my publicist is in LA, my manager is in LA. They are all liberals, and there's no way you work in entertainment without a liberal crew around you, or else you don't move forward. That's the sad part of the reality. But did you know Candace Owens has become like a darling on liberal America?
Well, she's
like,
anti-Trump.
She's like
she's gonna be huge and liberal,
the
of course.
darling of liberal. LA is obsessed with her. There is a rumor in LA right now that ABC is considering hiring her and giving her a daytime talk show.
Now, this is the thing about Candace.
This is
She's
not. This
undercover.
isn't. Again, it's a rumor, but in LA, rumors pan out to be true 12 months down the line when the new broadcast timeline comes around, which is September, January, and boom! I would not be shocked if we see Candace Owens with a daytime primetime television, which the audience is predominantly female. On
Well,
ABC. I wouldn't be shocked.
When you're, Candace, and you're doing things that are just heavily female coded to attract a female audience. Which 1 second while I drink from my
It
Stanley
looks
Cup.
refreshing.
I just love these Stanley Cups so
They're
much.
so
because
great.
they're
I
so
have them
great,
in
yeah.
like 8 colors.
Well, anyway, as I was
Women
saying,
love that shit.
When you do trendy things that women love, they just stare at you.
Can we clip
They
that? We should clip that and put that live somewhere.
Media Matters got mad at me because I said, "Can I pull this? Can I pull this up? Because we're being naughty today."
They got mad because their media matters.
I feel like I'm in Europe drinking out of this bottle.
Is it so small?
No, because it's attached to my face, the cap.
Oh yeah.
Here's
It's a European thing.
here's
litter. That's it.
here's why I'm not going to get an ABC daytime talk show. Phil, you want to read that one?
Tim Pool, women vote for drama. They vote for stupid, interpersonal trash that does not matter to the function of a society. They vote for soap operas. I took that, I retweeted that and I said, it's all true. Because it is all true.
Listen,
Not all true.
It is all true.
well, no,
I have a major female audience, so please don't say that
it
about
is.
my
It
audience.
is a
They're
generalization.
not watching
Or
tonight.
else I got you.
I'm going to say this again, George. I am going to get business cards printed out that say, if someone presents macro level statistics and you respond with an anecdote, you are low IQ. Or it will say a person who responds to macro level statistics with an anecdote is low IQ. That way, when I point out when I talk to a woman and I say something like, well, in general, women vote for drama and interpersonal stuff, and they go, well, I don't, I can hand them the card. Mm-hmm. And that's the point. It's not about women, it's about any group. Because this is what you see all the time. The truth is, women as a voting bloc do trend this way. Not every single one, of course. In fact, maybe about 35 to 40% do not. But as a voting bloc, it is reliable that if you want to maximize your female votes, social, trend, cultural, those are your key elements, which is why Candace Owens has a Stanley Cup on her desk. This is a status symbol among women. It's not just about what she's saying, because what she's saying is retarded, like debacle or kerflaffle. These are not words. But women care largely about the imagery and the high status of it. So when Candace presents salacious soap opera drama, like Blake Lively, oh my God, Brigitte Macron has a penis. Women love it. That's why she has such a massive female audience. Guys don't. Our audience, about 80% dudes.
I know. And
It's
every time I
because-
come on, they're dying. They're like, why is he there?
Guys,
all over.
listen. Have you seen the viral video of the man answering his wife's question like his wife that went viral recently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, It's a guy, and he's like, he grabs his keys and he walks to the door, and she goes, "Hey, hon, where are you going?" And he goes, "Oh my God." So let me tell you, right? So you remember Jim, right? Well, Jim and I were actually going to a bar after work, because you remember when I was saying I was like, I'm going to meet with Jim. I haven't seen him in a long time. So anyway, he tells this rambling, long-winded story, and then he goes, so yeah, anyway, the guy that he worked with, whose brother was friends with the chef, actually has a restaurant and downtown. And she goes, "Are you going to that restaurant?" He's like, no, we're going for beers to talk. And then he walks to the door. And the joke was for men, this is how women answer questions.
It's true.
And again, what irks me about stuff like this with Media Matters getting mad is that women get offended when men make observations from a male perspective that they wish did not happen. So when I say something like, women vote for stupid interpersonal trash, the rational response is not, F you, Tim Pool, don't talk about women that way. It's, well, I'd phrase it less harshly, but women prefer social issues over logistical issues. Men prefer hearing about objective, straightforward. Women love hearing about the personal. So it's subjective versus objective. This is not a wrong statement. It's offensive to women, not on the merits, on the intention, on the emotion.
I got it, yeah.
If it was a psychologist making this statement, it would say women tend to. That would be the only difference in the statement.
No, it wouldn't.
It's a tendency. Based
It
on
would,
statistics.
if it was written by a psychologist, it would say, as a voting bloc, women vote for issues of social importance.
Yeah, there would be like
They vote for interpersonal issues and cultural issues as opposed to objective functioning of society.
I mean, it would be you would make sure that they know it's a tendency and not a hard.
No, that's not
truth.
correct.
Well, not all women do what you say they do. So that
Ian,
is not true.
Do you
for
need the
all
card?
women.
Do you need the card, Ian? I made those cards for you because of exactly what you're
Just
saying
telling
right
you,
now.
You said at the top that it's a generalization.
Ian, for the love of all that is holy, I literally just made a whole joke tirade about how people who respond to macro level politics with anecdotes are low IQ.
I know, and that doesn't
And then
make it
you
true.
just said it.
Yeah, funny doesn't mean that your joke is true.
It's a fact.
Okay, but I didn't use an anecdote either.
Anecdotal evidence is saying not all women.
No,
Macro
it's not.
level
Anecdote would be like, I know a girl and she's not. That would be an
macro
anecdote.
level statistics don't need qualifiers.
Bro, I'm saying you're claiming a generalization and you didn't tell people that was a generalization in your statement.
Can someone help? Please?
I don't know what to say.
God.
There is no help. I hear this
Fighting
stuff all the
hard.
time.
No help.
You just got to sit back and enjoy the ride, Jim.
Yeah, there is no argument.
Anyway,
Sit back.
Ian,
I'm a guest here. I'm trying not to break anything.
This is the best
me
part
just
about
say
the
it again.
day.
This is the part. This is when it gets really spicy. I love it. I love spicy Ian. Hold on.
Macro
Does
level
anybody have, like,
statistics
tahini?
do not need qualifiers. End of story.
I tend to agree with Tim on
I
this.
don't think they need them, but if you want to be like a psychologist would have used one.
You are incorrect.
Why are you going a psychologist? What
Because
leads you all
they
the
try-
way to
their intention is to not. They don't want to reduce harm. They don't want to confuse people. They don't want to create confusion.
Okay.
Tim's more of a social, like a culture jammer. Yeah,
Like a hammer?
So that's the difference.
The statement, the reason why I joked about printing up these cards is because statisticians and researchers do not use qualifiers when they say things like women vote Democrat.
Well, my take on that is if you have a statistic that women voted Democrat up to today, now we're taking that statistic, that doesn't mean that in the future they will.
Well, I'll change.
I don't think you can comprehend what I'm
Women
saying.
vote Democrat, and here's why women vote Democrat: because there's no interpersonal skills and the majority of Republican candidates. That's a fact.
Agreed. They're Republicans are stodgy losers.
I was the first Republican in New York State in 26 years to win with a majority female vote. In
Oh, yeah.
52%. You know why? Because I actually talk to women.
Can I?
Obviously, I'm gay, and every woman is a hag, and that's a fact. I mean, okay. Let me speak this in Ianese, okay? Statistically, a majority of women are hags. They love to have the gay BFF. I showed up. I talked to women. I speak the women vernacular, and I got 52% of the female vote.
That's amazing.
Which was like boom to everybody. Like, how did George Santos do it? He's a scammer. He's a fraud. No, I actually talked. I showed up. I'm like, oh my God, your hair looks great. Love your nails. Like, oh, that bag's great, dude. And I mean it too. I'm not just throwing it away. I don't throw around compliments because I go online and then I eviscerate women for wearing shit
Well, but
clothes.
this is sales 101. I want to say something with all due respect to Brian Holohan.
Oh, I was gonna say, please don't be respectful. To
So we were playing. So Blair Wright was here the other day.
yeah, yesterday.
And she plays Magic the Gathering. And so I said, let's roll. And we played some Commander, and I mopped her up. Oh, I taught her a lesson. It was very fun, and
I don't even know what that is.
Magic the Gathering. These cards I got behind me. It's a card game.
Oh, okay.
But Blair asked about the makeup of the Magic audience. Like, is it conservative? Is it liberal? I said, oh, it's almost entirely like liberal, I guess, but it's because the older guys who play Magic, people who are like 40, like I've been playing it since the game came out, like we're more moderate to right leaning, and young people are all like in culture, young people are all left. And I said the reason why is Republicans are suit wearing losers. So the reason I say with all due respect to Brian Hollihan, because I'm not trying to rag on a young man, but again, I hope he hears this.
Thank you for saying that.
Brian Hollihan is a stodgy square. I am not trying to be disrespectful or mean to this kid because a lot of people ragged on him, and I'm not for that. But I think it's important to stress he has the charisma of a cardboard box.
But that's 90% of Republicans. By the
Exactly.
way, by the way, you're welcome. He was going to show up in a fucking suit today.
I don't know what to wear to things.
I said you're going to a bro podcast and you're going to wear a suit.
I work in politics and news. I don't know what to
Oh.
wear.
Stop
Hey,
being
look,
a
we-
cardboard
listen.
box.
Look at what Ian's wearing.
That is
Ian
true.
is the most appropriately dressed every time on the show.
Ian,
We don't have we don't have a dress code. If you had shown up in a suit, it would have been fine. We'd have made fun of you later, but that's fine.
I would have
You
skateboarded.
know what I told him?
What a
The only
stiff.
human being that shows up in a suit is a lot.
I just
He does.
I don't like the tie because I feel like it's a choke hazard. Like
I just don't know
society's
what
like
to
wear
wear.
this bitch.
Oh, so hold on. So tell me,
choke hazard.
tell me more about your
They want to
fantasies with
like, you
ties.
can't if you want to get away.
Come
you're
on,
gonna
that-
George.
that sounds like
don't
I've
be
never
gross.
Ryan
Don't
Holmes
be
show.
Tell me more.
tie one end of the top.
You saw the audio leak, right?
That's awful.
We'll talk about
No, come on. Christy's a dear friend. I feel so bad.
Christy.
Well, we'll talk about it later. I think we have to talk about the audio got released.
choke
entire
hazards
segment.
and yeah.
But you know, Tim, you're
Oh,
you're
shit,
talking about
you
something
will.
important here. Like you're making of course, you know, you're making a great point. Yeah, I'm going to make it serious because he's making a really good point. He took a long time to make it, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, you really were being intentional in this. It's that when we have all these young people who are being indoctrinated in these schools to think that Republicans suck, they're racist, and this, and then you have the representatives from the Republican Party come through and they look like the role they've been told, and then you have women who, by and large, they consume their media through headlines on what is it, like whatever social media pops up, Yahoo, and then they go and we reinforce these stereotypes. That
Trudeau won
Smart.
because he was a hunk and he did the yoga handstand on the table.
I think the red pill movement.
You know
what they
why
call-
Eric Swalwell's going to win? Because he's hot. I'm not my type, but women find
Really?
him attractive.
See, here's the thing. I'm not like
It's not that I'm saying he's a good-looking dude or what. I'm just saying like he projects like, oh, I'm young, I'm hot, I'm
gonna say this. I have no way to
That's why
judge.
Gavin
the-
Wax is not Gavin Wax. Oh God.
when all
Wax is
the
a good
when all the
looking
I
man.
love
women came out-
Gavin Wax. Oh, Gavin Newsom is a problem in 28 because of that same stereotype.
when all the women came out saying that Luigi Manganiello was hot or whatever.
he is.
I don't.
Objectively.
I
But you shouldn't find him hot. I'd find problems.
no. This is the thing. Like
Stay in your lane. I stay in my
Yeah,
lane.
but this is the interesting thing. Like the Trudeau thing we get because he's fit and he's like a surfer guy doing yoga. But I was actually shocked that they found Luigi Manganiello attractive. I understand he's fit as well, but I thought he was a goofy looking dude. No,
he's
you say this about Swalwell. I thought he was a goofy looking dude too.
They're goofy
You know,
looking.
every day I wake up and I'm getting ready for the day, I see hotness. You know what I mean? When I look in that mirror, I'm
That would be
kidding.
tough. No wonder you wear the beanie. Wait, that's back. So I think this the red pill movement, the what is it, like the trad wife movement has done a lot of damage to the people on the right. They think that you're supposed to be like a whip cracking businessman suit wearing box that the woman's inside of and can't, and like what most society doesn't want that. They're not prepped.
Your
they're not like-
fetishes are really showing today.
Did you see the
You know what,
stat?
Ian? You need to come on my show so we can talk about.
Ian, did you see the stat that more that young women are now preferring to be trad wives versus working women, like feminism? There was an article like feminism is dying because women now want to be trad wives.
I think it's their brain. They think they want to, just like the men think they want to be wearing suits and ties.
I don't think
But
they want
So
to.
they literally want to.
I don't know.
I think they do.
It is
I don't
there.
think most
Tie a
men
rope
want to be
around
in a
their neck.
single household income carrying.
No, it's
Well,
not about
what if
tying a
they
rope on your neck, Ian. It's about status. You dress the way you do because you're seeking status and approval from a certain sect of people. The saying goes, people dress like the person they want to have sex with.
Ooh,
That's an old trope.
that's
why you notice couples will be dressed similarly. You'll walk down the street and you'll see like a guy and a woman and he'll have black frame glasses. Like she'll have the same glasses. He'll be wearing a flannel. She'll be wearing a flannel. My favorite thing
Does
ever.
Rachel Maddow and Mark Cuban want to bang each other? Is that
Oh,
why
it's,
they
it's
were-
all
that's some hot
and you
tension,
know what
dude.
the worst thing is?
How do you tell them apart?
The worst thing is when Michael Knowles gets caught up in it. But here's a funny thing.
Can I get sued for that? I was just,
Let me
that'd
let
be
me tell you
great.
something
That'd
funny.
be epic
I wear the
episode.
same clothes every day, right? I wear a black t-shirt and jeans. I do have some other clothes that I just usually don't wear, but there will be days where my wife will put on a black t-shirt and jeans and I'm like, oh, we're coordinating today? And she goes, but we're very similar people. We like the same style, we listen to the same music, we're from the same place. It's not so much about it's oversimplified when you say that people dress the way like the people they want to have sex with. It's basically about who is your people, who is your tribe, who do you connect with. So when you say people are being indoctrinated to wear ties or whatever, no. You're from a rock star hippie world of liberal culture, and you dress the way. There are people that you want to notice how you dress, so you dress in an ostentatious manner.
I used to wear suits, but only because I was trying to fit in with that culture.
Exactly.
And they would be like, you have to wear a suit.
I wore suits for years. I hate wearing suits.
Republicans
You
are,
never wore
are
a suit even when you went to the White House.
No, the only time I ever wore a suit was in court. And when I... If there's one person I will dress up for...
The judge.
Actually, it's not true. I wore a suit to my wedding.
Your honor.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm assuming a tux.
Tie? Did you wear a tie?
No, a tuxedo. A regular suit. For
Really?
Yeah, for my...
I'm down with the jacket.
No
It
tie.
really is the tie. I don't like the tie.
I wore a... is it a suit at Mar-a-Lago? It was a suit jacket with
a
slacks.
blazer?
Oh, that's like a
Right.
sports jacket. Yeah. It's,
Because they have a dress code. And I
do
got
have a
fancy
dress code,
shoes.
yeah.
But the only ever time I wore a suit was in court. And it's because the man who is holding a hammer over my freedom, I will wear a clown suit if he asks me to.
Of course.
And this is the funny thing about people
you know
that
what?
stop
I
by
actually,
cops.
I kind of like belittled my judge because after a while, and I knew that she was just going to be awful to me, I actually stopped wearing a suit and I just started like throwing fashionista moments in there. I kind of Anna Delvied it. I was like wearing turtlenecks, red shoes.
wanna
I was
see-
just
you
like,
wanna
you
know
know
a secret?
what? You're going to screw me anyway.
You want to know the secret? Suit's not the way to go. You look up their personal lives and see what they're interested in, what their hobbies are, and the way they dress, and you dress like them. Make the judge see themselves in you.
She's like an 80-year-old white lady from
should
the
wear-
east end of Long Island. And
wear
I'm
a
like,
judge's-
nothing
And
like
so
that.
look up what she was like in her 20s and what will resonate with her emotion, psyche, and worldview.
No, I wish
And
I knew that too.
Well, no,
well,
no,
imagine
don't
this.
listen. Don't listen to him wear a judge's robe to the hearing.
Indeed.
I should wear a cape, like a big
then-
black cape, and walked around.
No.
She get it smirk.
And then underneath it, have a second robe. So when she says, Mr. Santos, you must take that off, you go, oh, I'm sorry. And you take it off.
Bedazzled.
And then, this was actually Michael Malice's joke. Then when she says, you can't wear that either, you go, oh, I'm sorry, you take it off, and it says federal boob inspector on it.
Like a Russian doll. Just
Right.
Like a nesting doll.
What are those things called? Mariushka or something?
Matrushkas.
Matrushkas.
I really
Matrushkas.
I care so much about
German too well, George.
That's Russian.
The internet.
Russian.
German.
Wait, did I say German? I meant Russian.
That's Russian. I'm never gonna refute the.
So anyway, back
Kremlin
to the
allegation.
main point.
Yeah,
We're
I don't
talking
really.
about dress.
I don't. I'm really concerned about people on the right. I don't worry too much about the dynamics of left and right. I want people to be cool. I want them to be cool and to be
I agree.
loved and to looked at as like cultural icons.
Bro, the
People
concern.
that identify with like American freedom, like gun rights, property rights, free speech.
Well, let's elaborate on this. Conservatives are trying to convince the Joe Rogans of the world. The Democrats are trying to convince the Joe Rogans. Democrats have their base. Rachel Maddow is Rachel Maddow, and everyone's going to love her on the left. And on the right, you've got Trump or whatever this fracture is, but people on the right are going to put on their MAGA hats. How do you approach the middle of the road, relaxed, working class people? Yo, they're wearing jeans and T-shirts. So when liberals show up wearing jeans and T-shirts or having a Stanley mug, the regular... Let me pause.
No.
Sales 101. When you said you tell women, you would say like, oh, I like your nails. That's sales 101.
It is.
So when we would do the street canvassing stuff, I always say this, become the person you're approaching. If you see a guy walking towards you in a suit and you act like Ian, he will say, don't touch me. If you see a guy in a suit and you walk up upright and you reach your hand to shake his hand, he'll stop and shake your hand. You have to know how to communicate with the people you're trying to target. For conservatives to approach the middle of the road working class people in suits with ties on would be like dressing up in a clown costume.
When you're on TV, you're basically approaching them through the television.
You need to be chill, quick-witted, and funny. Trump had a little bit of it, so he got a lot of that white working class base, but now he's in a weird space. The reason Democrats understand this, and they've always understood this, and the reason why I think what we're looking at right now, Gen Z right-wingers are squares. They're like 20-year-olds wearing suits, and Gen Z left are pierced, crazy clothes, wild hair. Regular people are not going to resonate with the work uniform. They might look at a weirdo just like a weirdo and just be like, hey man, do your thing, whatever. They look at a guy wearing a suit and they'll be like, it reminds me of work. I don't want to think about work.
Yeah, we've gotten to like a casual era, I guess, with social media now. You're kind of buddies with your politician now. Like, you know him a
That's
lot
a
better.
problem. Well, that's a problem too. I'm actually going to say this at the risk of being criticized, but people need to stop literally putting politicians on a pedestal and treating them like rock stars. They work for you.
Well, the internet does that, but
That's a problem.
Well, Obama started it, right?
Donald
I
Trump
know, but
wears
that's
a
a
suit
problem.
everywhere. I think he sleeps in a suit, and he's cool, like to young people. I know, but you know, what I'm saying he still.
I actually don't like Trump
I
out of a
disagree.
suit. Personally, no, but personally, and I'm saying this,
Yeah.
and I'm a big supporter of the president. I hate it when he shows up like in the high-rise pants.
Oh, you know, he
golf
should-
tuck,
yeah,
and
he
no,
shouldn't wear a
he's-
polo.
He
He's a
should be in a
little too
suit
out
all
of
the time.
shape. He's
He's
a little
cool in a suit.
I actually
with
agree
no
with that.
tie, with the tie
I agree
hanging
with
on
that.
the
Yeah,
sides. I like Trump like
he's
that.
a little
Joe Rogan's
too out
cool.
of shape for that.
Joe Rogan's cool.
Joe Rogan is a UFC commentator.
Yeah.
All the bros know Joe Rogan, not just because of his podcast, but because we all like UFC is fun, dude.
No, UFC is amazing.
It is pure testosterone.
Watching
cranked
it,
all the way up.
watching it octagon side is like the best thing. Like I've
Joe-
ever.
so-
Like,
so here's-
endorphin alone is just like, let's go.
Joe
For all the
Rogan-
wrong reasons in my case, but okay.
Rogan is a modest, smart sports commentator in one of the biggest sports in the world. He's extremely talented in a bunch of areas. These are the things that give him influence. He's quick-witted, and he's a good dude. He's a nice guy. He's funny. That's cool.
Smart.
Trump is a warrior. So a lot of people look up to him because they view him as someone who will punch you in the face. Not literally, figuratively. I don't think people look at Trump and think, when I grow up, I want to be like him. Some do, but generally speaking, they don't.
I think they do though, because you got to think when we were young. I mean, I'm 45, but when I was young and we would play Monopoly, we'd all be
you're
like, we
old.
wanted to be Donald Trump, right? And it was because we knew him to be a billionaire, right? We Donald Trump's
Oh,
rich.
dude, I used to
We
say
all
when I
wanted to
grew
be
up, I
Donald
wanted a
Trump.
building with my name on it.
Right, and if you,
grew up in New York City.
because he was the best.
That is a
right?
kind of cool.
But then you see him as he get home alone. He goes and meets Macaulay Culkin in the lobby. And, you know, Trump was always this guy in a suit, this business guy's icon. And as president, I don't think he wears the suit as a presidential candidate or as a Republican. He wears the suit because he's an accomplished businessman. So I think people look up to him for that reason, not because he's a politician.
I would describe cool. Obama was cool.
Obama was
And
cool.
and
I agree.
and the reason why is you don't got to like him. You don't got to think his policies
He's a
are
great
good.
orator too. Let's just face it. Like I
But-
can't stand the guy, but he's a great orator.
Obama's the guy in a conversation who's going to respond with, no. Listen up. You want to come at me, and I'll tell you what's up. And then it's like a confident, chill, like, hey, man.
Yeah.
Trump is the, no, we're going to tell you what you know. You're stupid and fat. So he's aggressive and strong, and people like that. But cool is kind of different. Cool is a combination, like, how do you define cool, right? I define it as relaxed, witty, charismatic. Trump is not relaxed. He is witty and charismatic and strong, which is a different.
But then again, there's instances when you're trying to be so cool, and I'm going to go way back to 2012, hype of the birther movement. Obama goes on Jimmy Fallon and does, the read mean tweets about you, and it's Trump saying President Obama is the stupidest president in history, and then Obama goes like, at least I'll go down as a president.
Yeah, that was
drops the phone. Well, that aged like milk. That aged
So-
Like, if it
I'll say
wasn't
like
for
this.
Barack Obama, we wouldn't have Donald Trump.
No,
I wanna
I
stress
thank him
something.
every day. Thank you, Mr. President. You gave us Trump.
I want to stress this. Democrats are not cool either.
They're not.
The issue, though, is they have purchased cool. So Rachel Maddow is not cool. She's a nerd. Chris Hayes is a nerd. And he's in The Boys. Did you see this? Oh, my God.
Oh God, I can't.
That's kinda
Talking about the
nasty.
5th season.
Yeah.
I
And
want to touch it.
if they removed all the political stuff from The Boys, awesome show.
It'd be great. Yeah, it was great the first 2, maybe 3 seasons.
No.
but once it got very clear that they
the
were
first
making
season was good.
references to real politics.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, I'm
couldn't
out.
do it.
Oh,
I'm out.
the first season was just like superheroes.
Season 1 and
gritty.
2 was great. Season 3 lost me, and on.
All,
Remember when
all
they brought
shows
in
would
Laura
be better
Loomer?
without the politics. They ruin every show.
Do you remember when Laura Loomer was in the show?
I don't.
Let me show you.
She was in the show.
Yes.
Well, it was a character based on Laura Loomer.
Oh, okay. You see, it went over my head.
Let me
I
show
don't know
you.
why.
Oh my God!
Didn't you get the
Speaking of Laura, hold on. Speaking of Laura Loomer, yes. Okay.
This is The Boys. Her name is Stormfront. She's a neo-Nazi. And instantly everybody was like,
Oh, that's Loomer.
Bro.
Yeah.
And she's like a big fan of Homelander.
Yeah.
Bro, congratulations to Laura. Like,
Nailed it.
I will say this.
they need a Milo.
Funny that they named her Stormfront, considering that, like, she's Stormfront and it's a neo-Nazi.
Isn't
Like,
that-
See the
come
lightning
on, man.
bolt earring?
That's the thing. It got so on the nose, and it was just like, all right, I'm
gonna
not
say
lost
this.
in the story. I'm not like there's so many references to reality.
They
It's so
lose.
stupid.
Do you know a
Yeah.
show that lost me after I'm embarrassed to say this, but after 17 loyal seasons,
Law and Order.
no, it got very, very, very unbearable to watch was Grey's Anatomy.
Look at this.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
Look, Laura Loomer.
Really political. Yeah, no.
She said, I know you're trying to be funny, but in all seriousness, Stormfront in The Boys was literally modeled after me. Aya Cash's character is based off of me by their own admission to The New Yorker. They thought they were being clever since I had short black hair, but I'm Jewish. So what does it say? It says,
There's allegations that she's not Jewish. And she's a friend, but I'm just
Laura?
saying. Yeah.
well,
Milo says that up and down. She's not Jewish. She
says, you have fans, I have soldiers. Stormfront's passing resemblance to the far-right conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer is not incidental, but careful not to infringe on anyone's intellectual property. There was it's a really crazy story is there was a show based off Occupy Wall Street. Do you remember what that show was?
I don't.
So let me pull this up. I'll tell you a wild story about a buddy of mine. What show was based on Occupy Wall Street?
Oh, while you're on the subject, Laura Loomer's been having a rough week on
Why?
X.
Are you playing with? You just feel like playing with fire. I mean,
No, she's a friend.
Want some
I
matches?
Roger Stone has been going really hardcore.
yeah.
He's talking about weed legalization, isn't he?
Huh?
No, they were talking about.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone on Laura. Like
It was about Tulsi Gabbard and all kinds of stuff.
it's hard.
Tim, you were making an interesting point before. You at the
Say I
beginning
chose fire.
American Odyssey.
Fire.
Oh, great.
So there was a character in
Great show.
sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Yeah.
There was a character named Harrison in that show who was a 1-for-1 of my friend Harrison from Occupy Wall Street.
Harrison Sura?
No.
Oh, different Harrison.
Harrison Schultz? Harrison, I get your name wrong?
I think that's his middle name is Sura. Well, Harrison, who we came and worked with.
Right.
I love him.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
So Harrison, good dude, smart guy. He's an anarchist. He was a moderately prominent figure during Occupy. NBC made a show called American Odyssey where they had an Occupy angle, and they cast an actor identical to him, had him on the show, named Harrison, and he couldn't do anything. He couldn't stop him from doing it. He was getting attacked by people being like, you sold your likeness, F you. And he was like, I have nothing to do with this.
Harrison Schultz. Yeah, we should pump him up because he's awesome, dude.
He's a good dude.
Enough to make a character of a TV show out of. Like,
I
he
know.
dances Capiopia and stuff.
Capoeirista?
Is that what it's called? He like
Capoeira.
flies around
He's
the
a
room.
capoeirista.
Capoeirista.
We're going to need a translator. There's too many
Which is
languages.
capoeira. It's a Brazilian martial arts.
Russian, Brazilian.
His name is Tesura.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Is he Brazilian?
Well, Harrison Schultz,
no.
Sura might be his middle name.
No, that's his capoeira name.
Oh,
that's it.
Very cool.
I don't know if he's Brazilian. I
don't think so.
Next time
You'd be shocked at the
have
amount of Schultz that there is in Brazil.
I would not.
You'd be shocked.
What were you going to say?
Earlier you were two things is tying us all together from the pre-show to now. You said the Democrats were buying cool.
Yeah.
And you also talked about Billboard screwing you when you're making good music and they didn't want to give you the attention.
That's right.
That is not so much buying cool too, is the media is giving them cool. Everything you hear on the radio is what the big business says. This is what's cool, guys.
Yes. But they're buying it. And finally, the Jews figured it out. I love how they're like, the Jews control everything. Well, apparently not, because the media is all in line. Like you're talking about Candace getting a maybe ABC show.
Yeah.
The Ellisons are
Bob
now
Iger.
stepping up.
And then there's Bob Iger, who's also involved, and I don't understand how does he reconcile those two things? Like, I'm going to put Candace Owens here, who's a rabid anti-Israel.
No, because that's what they want people to believe.
She'll say whatever they tell her to say. But now you've got the Ellisons buying up Paramount, and they're going to buy Warner Brothers. So now they're going to own CNN. Don't be surprised.
CNN is panicking.
I don't think so.
They're freaking out. I have two friends who work in the newsroom. The entire newsroom is like, we need to start putting job applications. We need to unionize while we still can. They're losing their mind.
Bro, could you imagine? Like, so the Ellisons, Larry and David, they're MAGA.
They're MAGA.
And they now own
Ultra
TikTok and CBS. And Barry, I think, has been doing great at CBS, and they are going after her like crazy.
Yeah.
Is this why MAGA has now transformed into technocratic movement?
No. MAGA has finally acquired a slither of Hollywood.
Institutional power.
And institutional power for the first time in a decade.
That's the secret.
11 years.
I guess it's
2015 to now.
why did they
11
do
years.
it?
Well, because
we're losing the culture wars.
We've lost the culture war
Yeah.
because they controlled all of Hollywood, all of the institutions, and we had Jamie Dimon, who at best is a right of center moderate.
Can I make a quick
That was
analogy?
as conservative as we can get, or Schwartz over at Blackstone. That was as good as it could get. Steve Schwartz and Jamie Dimon.
Well, let me make a quick illustration. And
we have media.
I showed this to my kids because I wanted to show them when they were younger how they could be manipulated by the media. media so they knew when they were being manipulated. It was important. And so we were watching America's Got Talent. And I was showing them, I said, I want you to see something that television can do that's really clever, that make you like somebody or not somebody based on the reactions they show and the way people react to things. So I showed them, I said, watch, they want this guy, because remember, these shows are pre-taped and then there's a live show and they need people to vote. And they're like, well, how do they know? What they do in post is they go, okay, let's take the reactions, favorable reactions for these people, negative reactions for these people, even though they all made it through. So when the live show comes, they have control over who wins. And I said, do you see how they're being manipulated? I go, watch, this person comes up. You might not think they're very good, but the person in the audience that they're showing is like crying, tears, people exciting, or the judges hitting the golden buzzer. So what you're seeing is society and social sort of validation. Okay, this person's good. This person's cool. And that happens in real life all the time in media, because if you're a trans person and you're on Disney, they're saying this person's cool. And so what do you have a bunch of kids doing? Running around going, this is cool, I'm trans. And that is what Hollywood has done. That's what television has done. That's what news has done. And so by us buying, or at least getting a share of it, we can make us cool, which goes to your original point, is the perception of cool has been defined by people who hate us.
I want to stress this too with Carter here. We put out a bunch of songs. I think 6 of 8 like charted on Billboard in some capacity.
Yeah.
The first song we put out was Only Ever Wanted, and I think it caught the machine off guard.
Oh, yeah.
They did not know how to react to the fact that we put out a song. Well, so the first song I put out was Will of the People a couple of years before I started working with Carter. Then we put out Only Ever Wanted, and we charted on everything, I think.
It was like number 2 on Alt. It was number 1 on Alt.
Number 1 on Alt. We beat Taylor Swift in sales on
Notice
launch
you
day.
started talking music and Ian's attaches emotional support guitar.
So here's what happened. Instantly, we got attacked by all the liberals.
You're kidding.
They started, I don't want to name the individual, so don't say his name, but
Oh, come on. Name names.
everybody knows this guy. I just don't want to give him extra airtime. His people intentionally ran through like a low pass filter to make the song sound like a demo, like bad. Yeah. And then they made fun of it. They did everything they could to attack what is just generally an apolitical song that did really well. And there were a lot of people, we got a lot of credit for it, that were not political and didn't know who I was. When our PR person reached out to entertainment publications, they told us to go F ourselves. They emailed back saying, F you, MAGA chud, things like that.
You know what?
So real quick, this is because they need to control cool and culture, and they would not let us get a foothold. So the song did so well, my Will of the People ended up charting after the fact, because people then started buying up the other song, and it reached number 17 on Alt, I think. So then we put out several more songs, and every time we would, for some reason, we'd hit a snag that would prevent the Billboard charting. And the last major release that we did, well, actually, not the second to last, was Together Again, which sold like 40,000 singles in a week, has like 15 million streams I think I like 8 million streams in the first week. All of that should have tracked and put us somewhere in the Hot 100, the Cadillac of the Billboard. We coordinated with all these companies. They told us what to do. We said, we will do it. Before, during, we said, before, tell us what to do. Do this. Okay. During, is everything good? Every day.
Every single day. Dude, I got receipts, emails.
Every day. Are we doing it correctly this time? Yes, you are. Is this being tracked? Yes, it is. This will count. Yes, it will. And then when it ended, they said, oops, you made a mistake. So we did not reach the charts where we should have. And this was a team up with the Daily Wire. We did this. It is a machine meant to keep outsiders out. They control what's cool, and if you don't bend the knee, you are not in. That's why Hollywood celebrities. That's why Hollywood celebrities go up their award shows and then say things like, "Oh, climate change,
Stolen land, living on stolen land."
They can't control what's cool, but they can control what you see. And so you can't fabricate cool with a nice suit. If you're not confident, you're not cool.
And
then,
when you
can prevent people from seeing cool. And
when
that's
you
what
have,
these gatekeepers have seemed to have done sometimes.
Let's not even talk about us. Let's make it about somebody else. Tom McDonald, who hits it out of the ballpark every release, he should be charting on Billboard with every song, and they keep him out. They told him that they won't track his album sales for no reason. He had a bunch of albums that said, those don't count. That's what they do, because it's now with CBS purchase. I don't know the opinions of the Ellisons. Never met them. Maybe they don't like me, maybe they do, but it seems like there is now a path towards access to audience the liberals can't control.
Well, it's like the hungry hippo thing, because like the first time our YouTube streams didn't count as streams like they should have with Only Ever Wanted, and we still charted. So I was like trying to knock that one out, and then as I'm doing that, they're changing a rule over here.
Not just that.
Do that.
Only Ever Wanted was on YouTube trending.
Yeah.
And so was Genocide, the first 2 songs that we put out.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they stopped.
So they booted us off Bandcamp right after Genocide.
They banned us. They deleted our Bandcamp account for no reason.
That's
we broke no rules. These songs are not political. Only Ever Wanted is basically just a song about a guy whose wife died.
No, you're perceived to be political, and therefore you're not allowed to have a voice.
Yeah, but then look,
because your
Kid
politics
Rock-
don't align with theirs.
But here's the interesting thing: Kid Rock and Lee Greenwood, for instance,
Their legacy.
they are legacy, and they can't look at the Country Music Awards. I forget what they're called. Is that what they're called? The Country Music Awards?
CMAs, yes.
CMAs or whatever. They're both on there all the time, and there's nothing nobody can do. And Carrie Underwood, besties with them, and like,
Yeah, but Beyonce is the country artist of the year.
that's because her husband had to create a deflection and buy something. But again, allegedly.
Well, this is changing, and it's funny. This is the weirdest thing. Barry Weiss is
A genius.
She's
genius.
She's the intellectual dark web 2.0, effectively, right? I certainly think there's grounds for criticism of her. Nobody's perfect, but she's been doing a fantastic job with CBS.
Amazing.
They've been covering the Medicaid, Medicare fraud stuff that Nick Shirley got highlighted heavily in December. So they're picking that up. They're not overtly right-wing or pro-Trump. They've been doing a decent job. When the story from Nick Shirley broke, they didn't say he's a liar or grifter. They said, actually look at this corroborating evidence of arrests and DOJ investigations. So I've been a big fan of what they're doing, but look at what the left and the corporate press is doing. Look at what Megyn Kelly is doing. Why are these people attacking Barry Weiss all of a sudden? What did she do?
Oh, Megyn Kelly sour. Bitter.
Well, Barry Weiss did one thing that she did. She tweeted that she was a proud Zionist.
There you go.
Barry Weiss, because when you look at the work at CBS, nothing stands out. I read CBS every day when I'm doing the news. Some stories I think are not done too well. Some I think are doing well. I think she's changing it for the better. But there's nothing where she's like going on there. There's no stories that are overtly political.
What's the final goal of Zionism?
Homeland for the Jews in Israel?
Do they talk about how big it's going to be?
No.
Ian's worried about greater Israel.
Don't they have a homeland for the Jews in Israel right now?
That's what
No,
Israel is.
Not without fights and war and
Yeah, there's
Peaceful
peaceful.
country.
Well,
again,
I would argue that Zionism does not assert peaceful, brutal, vengeful, any of that. It's just literally
a homeland
having
for
a
the
homeland
Jews.
for the Jews in
uncontested.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So with the West
Essentially,
Bank,
without any disputes, because like of Judea, Samaria, West Bank.
West
We'll take
Bank
it from
and
an
Gaza are
American.
disputed
There's going to be contests forever about who was there first, just so you know.
Well,
Well, it was the Jews.
Well, before that, it was the Canaanites.
oh God.
Where are the Canaanites now? Where are the Canaanites now? Are they fighting the Jews?
Interbred
Where are the
with
dinosaurs? They were
Okay,
there
but
before
here's the
them.
point. Ian, I agree. If the Canaanites were there and making assertions to the
Aliens.
land, we'd
Aliens.
have a conflict. But they don't. So the groups are the Palestinians who were there at the time of the mandate, and some of the people who are there actually are Jews and Arabic Israelis. But then there were a lot of people who migrated to Israel and purchased land because of a lot of conflicts in Europe. So everyone's going to claim they're right.
Are you saying that the Jews who have sorry to cut you off, but the Jews who have the claim are the Sephardic Jews, not the Ashkenazi Jews from Europe who essentially invaded? Is that the?
No, I'm not saying that.
No, I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying, but that's the greater dispute.
So the greater dispute is too massive and intertwined to even begin to untangle.
Because then you can talk about Bukharian Jews, which I think have been there before the Sephardic.
What is that?
Well,
Like an Afghan Jew.
right. So one of the issues is the left argues that the Palestinians are the Jews, that after Islam took over and forced the Jews to either flee or convert, the argument is the Jews who fled to Europe are the descendants of those who refused to convert, and the Palestinians are the Jews who gave in to the sword. And so this dispute is actually, from many liberals' argument, a dispute of the return of the Jews to land that has since changed, and they have no right to claim.
Cool.
Whereas many of the Jews are like, no, we never gave in.
A lot of this is post-colonial theory too in practice, because they look at the Ashkenazi Jews as white Europeans that have invaded the land.
Yep.
And so it's the colonization of an indigenous people. It's the same kind of stuff that you get when you hear people doing land acknowledgements here in the States or in Canada. It's the same kind of stuff that you hear about all over Africa.
But then listen to what Tim just said, right? right? A lot of those Ashkenazis are actually the descendants of the Jews who refused to.
yeah, but
so they're
no
not.
one's
forced out.
They're returning home.
Yeah, but the
technically.
left-
But I understand what you're saying.
the modern left of today that is aligned with
See
the
it as an
Islamists,
invading force,
the dynamic that they see is always the powerful versus the
But not
weak.
really. It's anti-white.
Well, I mean, that
agree.
is true, but that's what post-colonial theory is. Like, it's just anti-white.
But I'm saying, like, the argument that it's the oppressor versus the oppressed is just the skin they put over. We don't like white
yes,
people.
yes.
As the only non-white person here.
That's not true.
You look pretty white there. What are
I'm
you,
yeller.
Italian?
No, not
a little
even.
yeller.
No, quite literally, ethnically speaking, but 32% Angolan, and the rest is like Eastern European. Like,
Depends on the
You're
college
white,
application.
shut up.
You just, depends on the
No.
college
Hold on.
application. Like,
If you support Trump, you're white. If you don't, you're mixed.
The whites kind of got it.
I guess I'm white.
when we split off.
That's what they say to
You're
me.
too much of a queen to be anything.
12,000 years ago,
That's actually
my theory on the whites is like 12,000 years ago after the flood, all of humanity was there in Mesopotamia. A bunch of them went north, where it's just not a lot of sunlight. It was bright white, so their skin got lighter. And then they had to hunt because they couldn't grow crops, so they got all lizard-like and bloodthirsty. Then they came back south like 8,000 years later and marauded all these farmers.
Just yesterday we were talking about how there are chimpanzees that are having a civil war. It has nothing to do with how
by the way,
white
that
you
is
are.
So they got bloodlust.
I
No,
learned
it
that
doesn't.
yesterday.
It has
Yeah,
nothing to do with.
They got
whiteness
bloodlust
or
because they had to
anything.
hunt, so they
That's
came
all
back with
just-
that
that's
bloodlust
all
and that
third world
lizard-like
code.
momentum.
You ready for this one? Do you guys know about out of Africa theory?
No.
To
familiar?
some degree.
No, not at all.
This is it's an old theory that humans emerged in Africa and then traveled around, and through environmental
I do know
pressures,
that. Sorry.
different races emerged. However, it's being challenged now because human remains have been found in the Americas and in Asia that predate the out of Africa theory, which proves one thing.
Oh, hold on.
It proves the Great Flood theory.
I think
Or would it go back that there were humans during Pangea? Maybe.
This is the Great Flood theory.
Okay.
That the Adam and Eve theory is that every 6,500 years, the Earth tilts 90 degrees from a pole shift happening, and then the core spins and flips. Then the Earth tilts, the poles go to the equator, causing all the water to wrap around, making a big flood that wipes everything out. If a great flood happened, what would you see in the fossil record for humanity? You'd see humans emerging all over the planet at the exact same time, because the survivors in their key locations emerge from whatever survival, fortress or whatever mountain, wherever they're at, and start rebuilding. So then you see there's no records of humans anywhere, just in these key locations appearing all at once.
And then you get Whitey. And Whitey comes back with a vengeance because Whitey thirsty for blood.
Oh, God.
Whitey Hunt.
Shut up.
It's funny.
Look, that's why the Northerners are
What's
white
in your
and
water?
demonized.
What are
it's
you?
not-
What's
it's
in your
not-
water?
The idea.
It's actually funny that they're the least violent.
Get hydrated.
Yeah.
Actually, the Asians are.
Look at crime statistics. Whitey is not.
Whitey
thirsty.
built society, but
Whitey
hey,
is
I'm
not
not saying
thirsty for
Whitey's-
blood. That's literally what you just said.
That's
Unless you're
propaganda.
Jeffrey
Ian. It's
Dahmer.
not real.
I think that because they couldn't grow crops up north, they learned to hunt, and they came back with a hunter's
are
mentality.
wrong.
No, I think you're
It's not.
wrong.
It's
You are
not.
completely wrong. Look at the Mediterranean. They have siesta.
Yeah,
White-
they lay
white
around
people-
and sleep in midday when these
Exactly.
up
2
north,
hours
they're
of
like
siesta.
sharpening their swords, getting ready
You are
to prepare
wrong.
for the winter.
You are just so wrong.
I don't think so. This is
I
pretty
100% think so. White people are not more like.
I think you're
more
confusing
like
white people with the Mongols.
With the lizard
and
people.
No.
Dynasty.
Bro, this is
insane.
anti-white Marxist fake news.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to.
The theory is that humans emerged in Africa, traveled around the world, and then due to various pressures became specific.
He thinks
to
that all
certain
white
cultural-
people are like Genghis Khan here.
Right. So here's the point. Genghis
Hunt,
Khan.
kill.
Genghis Khan conquers a continent. Native Americans Asians who crossed the Bering Strait into the Americas were less violent, mostly because of how expansive the Americas were. So they didn't procreate enough to the point where social population pressures would start to factor in. The idea is that winter created a group of people that worked harder than they needed to. So what happens is people move up north due to they're constantly looking for new places where they can find food. Then a group of humans are in the north where winter comes. Those who were overworked and prepared for the winter survive, and those who didn't die. Those people have kids, and you create a culture of, I have to work all the time no matter what. These people then moved further south back to the Mediterranean where food was more abundant, but maintained that I must work all the time no matter what.
I call them the sea peoples.
So what happens is you have two groups of people right now. Those who sleep in the middle of the day for siesta because it's warm and there's food and fruit everywhere and they can fish whenever they want. And those who came back down and said, I have to keep working. The theory is this is where mathematics is born. Humans sitting around with no work left to do but wanting to work started exploring and working on problems they didn't need to. And this creates technology.
Yeah, the Greeks, that makes a lot of sense. The Romans.
That's the theory of why they started doing math and research and philosophy, because they were an industrious people without the requirement for industry.
I think that's where, because I'm not saying all white people, but the Northerners that did that, like
You did say
the
white
people that you were
people.
just referencing that had
you
gone
said
north.
white.
Well, I'll say it again.
You said white.
And the
Whitey
jihadis
came.
came in. Then the jihadis came and started massacring everybody through northern Africa and into Eastern Europe and to Spain.
That's future forward, though. Like back in the day. That's like 700 AD, 800 AD. But like in like 1200 BC, 4000 BC.
I'm talking 1400s.
4000 BC.
Yeah, like during the Egyptians, like all those Northerners that were like, the Mirage, 1600 BC is when the Sea Peoples arrived through, and they just came and they just migrated and they changed the entire demographic of the Middle East basically in 1600. And no one knows where they came from. Assumedly the north.
Clearly.
Yeah, like, boat.
Okay, Mr. One-Liner.
I mean,
Clearly, probably
Tim,
fleeing
Tim,
famine and stuff.
You mentioned something that made my mind go somewhere, and that seems to be how we're doing this. So, you talked about people being busy versus people having free time, and the free time people were thinking people. And then you think about where we are now and all of the distraction with technology and the fact that we are constantly occupying our mind with nonsense, which keeps us from actually thinking. And if you look at the people who started this country, they were thinking people, right? And if you look at the people in ancient Greece, like you mentioned, they were thinking people. And it almost seems like people who want to control everything is figured out. All they have to do is keep us busy working. So both the man and the wife are working constantly. You can't afford anything. We live in a world where you can't stop working, even though technology that we've created theoretically should free our time. But I think the people in power don't want to free our minds, because if we free our minds, we would see that this whole thing is nonsense and BS, and we've been controlled the whole time. So you're talking about something that's so interesting. And then the sea people, of course.
We're chickens in a chicken coop, man.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the people that run the show, presidents, politicians who have access to classified information, they're sitting there being like, these people have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
On
there's
purpose.
so many topics
so
that I get looped into and people want to talk about.
Aliens. Got to talk about the aliens.
And I don't talk about that because that was
Atlanteans.
but that was a hot topic in 23. We were briefed up the
You were in
wazoo.
Congress. What do you know?
I can't say. Not without the risk of being
Okay, well, don't. Let's
prosecuted.
change the subject.
again.
Do you want to tell me a fantasy story about wizards and elves?
No.
What do you mean?
You should ask Matt Gaetz to come here and talk about breeding.
Tell me, make up a story about how the Great Wizard Council went to the
All I
Council of
can
Mages
say-
to
all I
explain
can
invading
say-
orcs.
All I can say is there's so much information that politicians operate with that the general public do not have the slightest iota of what's going on. And they form opinion, they form opinion based on what-ifisms, or because there's people on the internet like Candace Owens who says, I have a source, or even look, and a friend of mine, Jack Posobiec, my sources tell me this, and then you have Ed and Brian Krasenstein, my sources tell me this. At the end of the day, it's all bullshit. None of this stuff. I'm sorry. I gotta.
You didn't read the rules.
Do you believe in aliens? You don't got to tell me any classified information. Just whether you believe in it.
I do. Yes, I do.
You think like
when
extraterrestrial?
hold on, when you say aliens, are you saying that you
Out of this earth.
So you believe
life,
that
yes, I do
you believe
it,
that there have been intelligent
communication between human
another
yes,
another
100%.
planet.
Well, from space or another dimension. That's a
I believe there has been. I believe
Hold
there
on.
has been communication. I believe there has been communication between the humans and another intelligent life form that is out on
another-
the planet.
from
Of
another star
indeterminate
system.
location.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a
From
great-
outside of this
Well,
planet.
they're actually they're both outside and inside. They're inside this. That's what they'll tell you if you ask them,
It's
where
just
are
like,
you?
I'm
Well,
gonna
they're called,
tell you
they're called
what you
shadow
believe.
people.
What?
Sometimes when out of the corner of your eye, you see them for a brief moment because that's when they're passing through our frame of time.
And I've smoked DMT twice.
Stop saying that because
Well, this is
now
the thing.
I have floaters in my eyes. and now I'm gonna think it's shadow fucking.
That's
you.
just diabetes.
George,
Diabetes.
George,
I'm wearing contacts.
George, you can melt.
After I'm here with all these lights, I have a shit ton of floaters in my eyes.
I have
Now I'm gonna
floaters
think
too.
it's shadow people.
No, you can melt them away with sunlight.
Just
sunlight
check
will
your
melt them
A1C,
away. If you
George.
aim
Check
towards
your
the
George,
sun,
so
you just take it with your eyes
my-
closed.
George,
Or like
All
open.
right, wait.
George, my take on it is, as far as we know, according to physics, right? The physics that Einstein has left us with. The speed of light is the speed limit of the universe. It's not just the speed of light; it is the speed of causation, cause and effect. That's why if the sun disappeared, it wouldn't just take 8 minutes for the light to get here. It would take 8 minutes for the gravitational effects to happen. I don't believe that there's anything that has traveled faster than light, because it's the speed of causation according to the physics we know. Do you believe that there are physics that we have not found?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
There are physics
Okay.
that.
All right.
There are physics. Albert Einstein, probably smartest mind in physics history.
Before you came along.
Oh yeah. Oh. Excuse my chops in physics, right? Professor PhD here. No, to your question, I believe that there are quantitative physics that are completely alien to the human being at the civilian level.
Okay.
That's where I.
But what does that mean?
At the civilian level,
Like there are private companies that have technologies we've not seen, or
no government.
Well, there are
When
things.
I say civilian, I mean the government has access to technology. It is not yet, or does not believe the world population is yet ready to
That makes sense because
comprehend.
that makes
That is
sense.
a fact.
That makes sense because there
that's
are.
why the scientists are dying and disappearing.
Well, that makes sense because there are ideas.
Whistleblowers?
No,
There are
just there's civilian scientists getting close to, like, so there are a lot to stories about
Did you see the
people.
Brazilian? Sorry to cut you
Hold
off.
on.
Did you see the Brazilian?
Let me make this point.
I just want to get one point out. There were ideas that were born classified. It's what they talked about with the Manhattan Project and in physics. There are ideas and theories that are born classified. So as soon as they're thought up, the government says that's classified. You can't tell anyone. So I understand what you're saying.
So let me now make my point. There are a lot of stories about scientists who were killed, missing, had their research stolen from them. That is when you are up here technologically and humans are down here. And, I want you to imagine it like a Christmas tree covered in lights where only one light is on at a time, so it's blinking.
Yep.
It's very easy to snip those lights out like a whack-a-mole. But as time goes on, communications expand. The speed at which the lights start popping up start rapidly
Can't
increasing.
whack them fast enough.
And you're whacked 9 in the past few months and people start noticing.
Yep. Well, look, I'll put it this way: Brazilian doctor and scientist in Brazil just invented a shot and a treatment that will make a paraplegic walk again. Literally, this is happening right now. There is a treatment. It's now amply available in Brazil. They've put 6 different people are walking again that have not walked in decades and are doing physical therapy because now they have full control and sensation of their limbs. Right? She went AWOL. I think it was 3 days ago.
Really?
I want to. Are you
So
pulling?
this
her?
is this
That's
is a
her.
story, yeah.
That's her.
A Brazilian scientist's experimental paralysis therapy is fueling hope and hype.
Yep.
Spinal cord injections.
It's wild.
Her name is Bruno Drummond. Is that her name? No, that's that's
No.
the person who was
No, that's the patient.
Tatiana
you go.
Sampaio.
What is she
Sampaio.
injecting?
Sampaio.
So look at that Russian name, Tatiana.
Would you know off the top of your head what she's injecting?
Oh, I mean, I didn't get into the whole thing, but apparently it's a very vulgar drug that's been ample available, but she just tweaked it and experimented with it. And
I mean, there's a lot of people claiming this. Look at this. But she's missing?
apparently 3 days ago, she went AWOL. According to Brazilian news sources.
Really?
Like, where is Tatiana? Like, that was kind of like she's been radio silent or something bizarre.
Maybe she's working for the government now.
See people.
I mean, look, like I said, and then going back to what we were talking about, so when you hear Matt Gaetz, I mean, obviously, and I can say this, I can refute this. I did not get briefed on humanoids and crossbreedings. I thought that was a wild statement. I actually thought that was an April Fool's joke for a hot minute there because it was an interview posted on April 1st.
Day before, though. It was posted the day before.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Oh, because I only saw it on April
News
1st.
picked it up the next day.
Oh, okay. So that's why I was like, I think this is just an April Fool's joke. But then again, it's serious. I spoke to Tim Burchett the other day, who's a dear friend and is a
Did he grab you and shake you and say, George, they're real?
brother. Big G, I got to tell you something. No, so we're actually going to be
Dang gummit.
But we're going to be talking about this topic on my podcast next week. And it's crazy because it's a topic that's not going away. And I don't think there's a way for the government to keep putting a lid on any of this anymore.
There's two aspects of this. Oh, is it?
There's no lid. There's no, what Tim just said is so spot on with the connectivity aspect. Manhattan Project was so easy to keep hush hush on most, and even then we failed. Think about it.
But it was compartmentalized to a degree where no one really knew what was going on, but people knew something was happening. Was it 300,000 people?
Yeah.
Working on this project?
Yeah.
And they compartmentalized all the information.
40% of them were foreigners.
And now like AI data breach makes that near
That's what we need the H-1Bs for.
incompatible. So
That is a great commercial on why not to do H-1Bs. If we did not have foreigners working on the Manhattan Project, nobody would have figured out nuclear weaponry, at least not so fast, because they essentially stole all of our work.
But we wouldn't have figured it out either.
No, we would have.
You know, my two takes on aliens is you've got your
Taken longer,
chimeras.
but we would have.
You get your chimeras, which is what you're talking about, human-animal hybrids, which I think they are working on, and they may be using to
The human Z.
Yeah, you get stuff like that, like
You know about the human
whatever.
Z?
But animal hybrids. And then the other aspect is if there are like what they call
stop what
like
you're doing, Tim.
they call them like
Stop what you're doing, Tim. You know what you're
DMT
doing.
spirit elves. They say that there's like personas that you can perceive with others. If those things are real, there may have built technologies that can tune in and listen and talk to them, communicate with them.
Well, can we pause for 1 second and go back to what he said a while
The
ago?
human Zs?
Were you talking
No,
about
the DMT
theoretical
spirit realm
math?
features. This is another thing. This,
What-
We'll talk about
chimeras.
real quick because you said I don't want to, and then we can go to human Z because I'm dying to know about this. You talked about about Einstein and the rules.
Yeah.
I think those are the reason why nobody has disproven Einstein's theories and rules. The math always works, but it works in the world in which they apply.
Yeah. So
that is the limit to them. They work in our universe.
Well, okay, so
doesn't mean they work in other ones.
Well, okay, so that's a different universe would be a different thing. So I'm as far as we know, and this is only talking about what we know. That's why I asked if there was stuff that George, or if George believed that there
believe.
was believed. I'm being careful
Yeah.
with my articulation. If there was stuff that George believed that we have yet to discover, or that
No, I think we've discovered it.
well, that's
here-
that's I'm
Right, and the
only talking
problem
about-
with that question is the answer to any reasonable person is always going to be yes. It's just not a question that needs to be asked.
Well, I mean, as of right now, there haven't been any significant public discoveries.
That's not true.
In physics?
It's not true.
I said public.
Public. No, it's not.
Yeah, what about
announced,
the,
but you just got to read in between
like
the
quantum
lines.
tunneling.
Project Artemis. Artemis 2 right now.
The 0-point propulsion?
Well, not okay, sure, but let's talk about Artemis 2 right now. Why did for those I know that I don't know what crowd this is, but do you believe we've gone to the moon? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So
Generally, I've had some really smart people tell me they don't think so, which is
Just he's
weird.
going to drive it off the road every time.
I haven't seen proof either way, but I was definitely bought in.
all right, so
Have you? We talked about the 0-point propulsion thing when the story came out.
I think I was here for that.
You might have been.
was
What
here
they
for
do
that.
is they fire
Because you always
particles
talk about aliens and tech when I'm here.
in a vacuum against a plate. They fire particles at it.
Yep.
The particles create no inertial effect, but upon impact, they create a very, very tiny one. So it's a net zero at production of the energy and a net positive physically. So the hypothetically, the internal 0-point engine fires a stream of particles at a plate, which, again, the firing produces no recoil effect. The impact of the plate produces a minor impact effect, which drives the whole thing forward.
Are they firing
that's-
protons?
But that's still
I'm not sure. I think it's electrons.
governed by Einstein's understanding
All
of
of them
physics.
That actually does not necessarily.
It's not necessarily.
Yeah, no, the idea that
Colors
you can,
outside the lines of everything Einstein on the Einstein doctrine.
Well, we were
yeah,
talking about
you are creating propulsion with no propulsion.
You're creating gravity essentially
It's a
without
pure violation of what
but
the
the
second law.
speed of that propulsion will still be limited by the time. You still can't
The
use
amount of
propulsion
energy
to get to light.
produced. So no, but the idea is the fundamental physical rule is like if you're in space and you're spinning, right? You're spinning backwards. You throw something down and you'll spin faster. You throw it up, and then you'll stop. The force counteracts, right? When you release the object. So again, if you have a gun in space and you fire it, watch when drones shoot guns, boom, they go like that.
Whatever has more energy will affect.
This 0-point propulsion creates no recoil effect, but produces one after the fact, which seems to violate the laws of thermodynamics.
Yeah, but that's
But thermodynamics only applies-
Einstein didn't get into thermodynamics, if I understand.
Yeah, I know, they're older
is
than
governed by physics.
What?
They're old.
Thermodynamics is governed by.
Well, yeah,
Well, it's the it's the laws of physics.
Exactly.
Newtonian physics. Those were Newton's ideas.
I don't think Newton did the
Not only that, but when you
first
get into
law,
quantum scale
thermodynamics,
stuff, then they make sense anyway. So
Well, but at the end of the day, to brace this to brass tacks, and what I want to talk about the Human Z is the fact that no matter what we create, we're still up against, if we're talking about space travel and we want to get to the nearest galaxy, you would need lifetimes and plus so much radiation, you would die. And even if you could travel the speed of light.
I don't think that's true.
you know,
I actually
Even if you,
strongly disagree
what's
with
the
you.
closest Alpha Centauri? How many light years is that away?
11.
it's
think
11
it's
light
like
years.
Pretty sure it's
Okay,
11.
so 11 light
Wow,
years.
that was so spot on.
That means it only takes.
I mean, I
11
watch
years.
a lot of YouTube on this, so that's why I asked you about, if the physics, or that's why I talk about the physics that we understand right now.
Did you
I
see
watch
Tim
a lot of stuff.
Did you see Tim Burchett commenting on the Matt Gaetz interview?
Yeah. We talked about it.
Spaceships on
Yeah.
the size of football fields.
Oh yeah.
Moving 200 miles an hour
No,
underwater.
I'm sorry. Alpha Centauri is 4.37.
Because they can phase matter.
Well, see, now we're talking about something totally different then, right? If we're talking about phasing matter and doing things, where does that technology come from? Does it come from space? I guess my question is, does it come from space or somewhere else?
Warp technology was conceptualized in like the 40s or 50s, and they made a TV show about it.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to warp stuff like that, it's in theory that's fine. With right now the ability, as far as we know,
Wormholes.
the ability to
Wormholes, there you go.
the ability
Bend
to
space.
hold on, the ability to bend space requires such an amount of energy that you can't. That as of our understanding, we can't control.
That's the big cop out that the
But-
government will always tell you. We just don't have enough energy.
Hold
to do
on,
it,
hold on.
guys.
Again. Of course, we can't control. The question is, can it be controlled? And the answer is likely yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You get enough energy, you can charge a particle so high and then fire it at an object, and it will go around the object and through it. They call it quantum tunneling.
It's not. It doesn't go around. It goes
well,
through.
they say it goes through it, but I guarantee if you see it close enough, it's slipping around it.
Well, I think that Dyson spheres probably exist.
It's not quantum
and
tunneling, it goes
the
around.
perfect harnessing of energy and manipulation of it exists. And then one kind of joke hypothesis I have is that as we watch all of our technologies continually get smaller and more efficient, would it not come to a point where we have like a single series of like a small little grid of particles that enable you to do literally anything?
Micro nano particles.
Yeah.
You're saying, yeah.
It's like it's three-body problem. They have the sophons that can basically do anything.
Yeah.
Like technology becomes so small and so compact. The other question is it possible then, if you follow that train of thought, that the simple knowledge of the equations would grant you godlike powers?
Yeah, that's why the information will be obfuscated in the system, and it's the guy like Neo that goes into the Matrix and can reverse engineer the code so that he can make anything appear.
I don't know that the human mind has the capability to come to that point. When we are mapping the physics of the universe and writing this stuff out, we're writing out the code of the universe. And so the code, imagine it's a chessboard, and we've not even filled in a quarter of one of the squares in the bottom left. Mm-hmm. And that whole map of physics is just waiting for us to start building up. With AI, it's going to like crazy.
That's a good point. Soon.
Very soon. The singularity.
It is coming for you.
The like the connection between the quantum spin state and the subatomic classical mechanics,
Ian.
Is really interesting.
What if particles are actually just because space and time are actually cyclical? And when we look at electrons, we're actually looking at suns. Because the further you go down, you're actually just, you know what I mean? Like it's infinity.
I
It
thought
moves
that
backwards.
an electron can spin down and up somewhere else. So like it could disappear
haven't you ever
here as
seen
it's appearing
Men in
elsewhere.
Black?
Just baiting him at this point.
Remember in Men in Black?
Just like he does on Twitter. It's
Remember
just
the
like he does
galaxy?
on Twitter.
Remember on Men in Black, the galaxy on Orion's belt?
Yes.
And then they look inside of it, and there's planets, and then the movie zooms out, and then they're a marble being played with by some aliens.
Yep, it's closing credits, yeah.
So the further you shrink down smaller and smaller and smaller, it's all actually one loop. Size is a circle, not a line.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. The toroidal.
Yeah, I know.
I think. Well, I believe that. I believe the universe is a torus. They think it's expanding because of the red shift. They call it. They think that it's getting further away faster because it looks like the
Mobius
wavelength is
strip.
expanding. But what you're doing is you're seeing a wavelength from a different angle, so it looks like a longer wavelength, so the color changes, but it's really wrapping around and coming back through again. It's going to big crunch again through the center, wrap around again. They'll call it the Big Bang.
You know what's really funny is actually the Big Crunch was considered discredited, but now they're bringing it back. The Big Crunch is the idea that the universe appears to be expanding. There's a single point, Big Bang, but then as matter starts collapsing in itself, forming black holes, they eventually start collapsing into themselves and then all crush back into a singularity again.
Yep.
And then it's like the universe is going like this, like pulsing back and forth. And then it turns out that the universe itself is actually a single particle.
What?
A single particle.
Oh, okay.
See,
Blinking.
these conversations make me go home and sit down, stare in the ceiling, and have an existential, like absolute, like question of everything. Like
Stretch your lower brainstem when you're doing it. You'll have like epiphanic visions.
Let's talk about the human Z.
Emotions.
Let's talk about the human Z.
How do you get to your lower brain?
You ready for this?
Homie.
You ready for this, George?
Receive infinity.
The human Z is the hypothetical hybrid between a chimp and a human that apparently Soviets were trying to do it. They claim it never happened, but I tell you this.
I believe it.
Of course they're doing it. Of course. Now here's the scary part. You know what's the scary part about it? You cannot take a female chimp and impregnate it with male material. You know why? Humans are too big, chimps are too small. You know what that means? You have to take the chimp's material and put it in a female human. The only way to create a human Z without artificial wombs is to inseminate a human female with a chimp hybrid.
Gross.
Yeah, so when it comes to hybridization, the larger species always has to be the female to be able to carry the other species. So what would happen? We were talking about this the other day with dog breeding.
I actually had a Chihuahua pit bull mix that the mom was the Chihuahua.
Interesting.
I actually
That could kill the dog and actually is a big problem in
could.
breeding.
It could. I could. But
got
I'm
lucky.
saying I adopted it.
So people talk about this. Like if we talked about the other day, if you took a dachshund and an Irish Greyhound.
No, my head now is just imagining the little Chihuahua and the pit bull. How did that ever happen?
He was hung.
What might happen is that
you're missing the point.
the mother's body
lied to.
the mother's body will expel the babies
Oh.
before their gestation because the body cannot handle anymore. It will just birth the babies, and if the mother is too small for the larger male, the babies are just born premature and die.
I heard about the.
What?
I got lucky because I adopted this dog.
No, they can't exist. So again, with the human Z, a female chimp can't carry a large human baby, especially with the size of their heads. So the conspiracy theories are women are kidnapped and inseminated with chimp semen so that they give birth to chimp human hybrids.
I heard the girl banging the dolphin. Did you guys know that girl?
Yes.
Yeah.
Scientist
I heard
lady?
about that, too.
That's a real story, and the dolphin
But
fell in love
dolphins
with
are
her.
very rapey.
Yeah, the dolphin was
Yeah.
raping her
The
and she
dolphin
gave in.
loved
That's what
it,
happened.
and it was
get
like,
pregnant?
Dolphins are very.
She like
rapey.
lived with it underwater for like 6 months or something.
Yeah, it was like a building where they had it
Was she holding her
flooded.
breath the whole time?
Could you imagine a dolphin human hybrid though? That'd be kind of cool. Like Aquaman.
I think it would just be like, kill me. Yeah.
The origins of Tucker's laugh.
I actually like his laugh. It's infectious. What can I say?
Actually,
dolphins.
if you're wondering about a dolphin human hybrid, he's right here.
Hey.
See? That proves it.
I have lungs.
Matt Gates talked about these breeding programs where women.
Yeah, that's just.
So here's the funny thing.
I know nothing about that. I can say comfortably, I've never been briefed on that.
Listen,
that was wild to me.
He said people are being kidnapped from caravans and war zones to create alien hybrids. Here's the thing. You don't need to kidnap a man for his material to make a baby. So if you're kidnapping any humans, it's for one reason. To inseminate with an alien baby.
Did he say he heard it from like a skiff or something?
Military.
No, he was.
He said a military guy briefed him.
I mean, do you want to pull that clip up so you can see it? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Why are you pulling it? You know what I
Benny
heard?
Johnson. It was crazy.
The other day, I talked to somebody who says, I don't know if
Hey, you work with Matt Gates. Did he tell you anything on the sideline?
I'm not going to talk about our private conversation. However,
You're in
Here,
the
let's
same
play it.
studio as him.
Wait, is this the video? I don't know if this is the
I
right
don't
video.
think that's. I think that's where he admits that. Well, he didn't admit anything.
Right. Matt Gates claims military once briefed him on alien breeding program involving humans when he was in office. There he is. Do they not have the embed here? Let me pull it up on X.
well, if you think of it, Matt has a very large brain. So maybe
Yeah.
Are you trying to say he has a big head?
he could be.
Matt, you heard that.
I don't know, Matt.
Your coworker says you have a big head.
I didn't say he had a big head. He has a big brain.
No, you said big head.
No, I said big brain. I
Descended from.
check the tape.
He's definitely Neanderthal. He's got that high Germanic forehead like me.
Here you go.
Well, my brother really has it.
I think the most important information
There you
will
go.
be the biologics that are not human that have been discovered. And like even some of the briefings that aren't classified just need to be out in the public. I mean, I had someone come and brief me who was in a military uniform, worked for the United States Army, that was briefing me on the locations of hybrid breeding programs where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some hybrid race that could engage in
looks like he's about to
intergalactic
have an
communication.
aneurysm.
An actual uniformed member of the United States Army briefed me on that.
You see, I didn't take it serious at first.
Non-human
and I thought it was
biologics.
April 1st because of Matt's smile.
Interracial alien mating? What the F is going on? Look, wait a second. You had whistleblowers tell you this kind of thing? Can you please unpack that?
I had a guy who was uniformed. He was a senior enlisted with the United States Army. Came into my office in Crestview, Florida, in a non-classified setting. I had members of my staff there, and what they explained is that the military ran a very secret program where aliens that were living were in forced breeding programs with humans that had been abducted from war zones and from even the caravans of migrants. Now, again, I didn't verify this, but what the whistleblower was telling me is that there were like between 6 and 12 locations around the country where this happened. And what he wanted was a group, members of Congress, to all show up at the same time at all of these different locations so that any of those activities could not be moved. And of course, it's a physical impossibility to get members of Congress to simultaneously show up at like 8 locations at one time. And so that never occurred.
Unless it's
What
a
do you
fundraiser.
mean non-human biologics?
Unless it's a
like
fundraiser.
Well, that was the testimony
I'll be there.
of David Grush before the House Oversight Committee, which I joined, and the testimony was that in crashes of craft that had been recovered by the CIA and through a special program that the CIA had for crash recovery, that it wasn't just the hard materials, it was also biologics, but that they couldn't identify a human source of those biologics.
They could have built them
Aliens.
in laboratories with carbon. Carbon machines are now, and or it could be a total lie. But to assume in any way that a guy told you there's off-world life and just say, okay, then yes, is not the way to go.
What's with the smear on the post? Attacking Matt Gaetz over misconduct allegations instead of addressing the actual
That's
merits.
what he can say anything and they'll do that.
But my point is,
He's selling lemonade.
why?
Bots.
If you were genuinely concerned that Matt Gaetz was like corrupt or bad, you'd be like, well, he's discrediting himself. Why attack the message about the aliens?
Yeah.
auto attack?
Because that community note was most likely written by somebody in the CIA who's pissed at Matt Gaetz right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, the
And they're
chimeric
like,
program. So he said there's
Abigail Spanberger probably typed this one herself.
up to 12 chimeric labs in the United States, according to Gates. I bet there's a lot of them across the world, like in the Ukrainian.
Look, I don't know. I don't know that to be true. But I will say that that's a lot much, right? If we're being honest with one another. I'm more on the vanilla side of of the theories of the things I've been exposed to and briefed on, and because they were in classified briefing settings, I'm unable to talk until they become declassified, or I will face prosecution, and I'm done that. Not fun.
No more jail.
No more jail for me. I do not look good in yellow or orange. So my point here is, I think that what the American people need to focus more about, and I think it's pressure from people, is to create pressure for there to be more transparency in government and sharing with us, like what the hell are you guys cooking up? Like it goes back to the whole concept of Area 51, right? Like till this day, nobody can actually prove the existence of Area 51 unless there are things in the government, true statement, okay, that the classification is above the scope of the President of the United States. Did you know that?
No.
Did you not know that? There are things that are classified to a level in this country that a bunch of bureaucrats have determined that not even the president can be aware, that only the director of the CIA or director of national intelligence and in some specific cases, the secretary of war can actually be briefed. on those things.
With-
Their clearance is higher than the
Is that the
president's.
Q clearance? What is that?
I don't know what it's called.
That's the conspiracy.
I think they're working on with the Area 51 was drones that they had developed. Like Tesla was working on I think anti-gravity. He was working on a lot of like wireless transmission of power. But then so they lied. They said it's aliens, and they work on their secret drone program. Today they're working on their secret chimera, animal hybrid program. They're developing life that can resist radiation, that can run faster, that can see farther. And I don't know if it's ethical to tell the world about it, to be honest.
I think it's ethical. I think it's unethical for humanity to be living in the dark, not knowing what lingers out there. I don't think it's fair.
the Manhattan-
There's a war going on, right? Have you seen all the things in the sky that everyone's filming? The theory is that we're fighting a space battle, and the Iran war is cover for the alien invasion.
Oh, so bad.
Blowing up satellites.
I mean, dude, do you know what's funny? The quote hotspot of the country in the United States for UAPs.
Florida?
No, it's Hudson Valley, New York.
Really?
Did you know that?
I didn't know.
It's just Canadians. People see them and they're like, look at those aliens.
Border
New
conflict.
York. It's essentially the hottest spot for these interactions and people claiming lost time. Like, I was on the road, I saw a light, and then when I woke up, it was 11 hours later. But it felt like a minute. I'm like, okay. So like all these things happen, but they're predominantly in New York. There's documentaries on this. And again, the only reason I know this is I have a dad who's obsessed with this crap. What is this? A map of what?
This is a UFO heat map.
Oh, you see? Look at how bright New York is.
There is a higher population also, so that might have something to do with the infusion.
Interesting. That looks really hot on Long Island.
Well, the reality is the sightings are just where people are. Like,
and there are
when there's-
defense. I mean, we got
that's not
DC
good.
and New York, our two hottest, our most valuable cities, basically, right there. So you have air defense drones probably that they're experimenting with and
nothing
hopefully
happens in
patrolling
Niger?
with. So,
we
Jordan,
got one
I only-
sighting in Libya.
I only suggest keeping the information from people. I used to be
1989.
like a intense transparentist. Like show the world everything, let the chips fall where they may. But the Manhattan Project, for instance, if we'd showed the world that while we were working on it, we would have lost the war. So same with hybrid programs. If we want to make the best superhuman soldiers, if we want the best secret drone technology, then go underwater and up into space. And like, I don't think we reveal it. I don't think it would be
When
smart
was
to
that
reveal
one?
it.
I don't know. This website's crazy. 2002.
Oh. In Battery Park City?
Yeah.
Manhattan?
Yep.
And it was just probably.
Well, this is Albany, maybe New York.
Oh, okay. Well, that's.
I know.
that's-
I picked
that's
Battery Park
City. That's why I was like, wait.
I love that area. I've always wanted to live there my whole life. Battery Park.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just
Downtown?
right on the tip.
Yeah.
I love this. Like,
Also
just,
floods like hell.
Oh.
What's this?
just in the middle of the Gulf. U.S. Navy cruiser, Gulf of Mexico, UFO at sea. Interesting.
Interesting.
This website's cool. I just
How about
searched.
the
I
Bermuda
searched UFO heat
Triangle?
map.
Check what happens at the Bermuda
Nothing.
Triangle.
Nothing.
Nothing now.
It's a magnetic.
Well, that's just
firestorm.
Bermuda. No, that's just
I know
Bermuda.
because there's nothing else.
Interesting.
Wow. Is that where we're gonna have to defend against the AI? We're like, come and get us. We're in our last bastion, the Bermuda Triangle. Your magnetics won't work.
That gives me Mila Jovovich last stands in Resident Evil. Remember when they're like all on top of the White House in the
didn't see it.
second to last movie? They're all standing there on top of the White House, like, all right, we're gonna go into like destroying this umbrella corps. You remember that?
I've never seen it.
Come on, am I the only one who watched Resident Evil here?
Yeah, the game was pretty good. It was slow though.
Oh, I'm obsessed with her. She's so hot. I'm sorry.
Oh, Jovovich is the jam.
She is the
I
hottest.
wish she was
in
coding the
driving.
AI. We brought her up a couple days ago. That she's
Jovovich.
Jovovich, isn't it? Jovovich.
Oh, it's not Jovovich?
Bug Jovovich.
Okay.
Jovovic?
Yeah.
Nobody calls her that. Everyone calls her Mila Jovovich.
Yeah,
Jovo.
Mila Jovovich.
Mila.
Jovovich. Oh my God,
She's so hot.
dude, we're gonna have.
I like she's just so hot.
Are you going straight for her?
Oh no, she was my teenage crush, dude. Like
What happened?
I was married. Been there, done that. Didn't like it. I don't know.
Bro, let's talk about this, dude. Look at this.
You eat one bad oyster,
Check this
there's
out.
one
Before we
shellfish
go to that
for
story real
life.
quick, did you see that Eric Adams just became a citizen
Yeah,
of
Armenia, was it?
No, Albania.
Albania. That's what it was, yeah.
Check this out. Check this out.
Somebody's getting ready for an
Accused-
escape plan.
Here we go. We got this from the New York Post. Accused Kimberly Clark arsonist compared himself to Luigi Mangione in a call of the SoCal warehouse inferno.
They-
Yo, these people are leftist terrorists.
Oh, is that the guy who burned the toilet paper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently. You saw this video?
I did. I was He didn't. He
Like, you better
video
pay me more
himself?
money. Yep.
Crazy.
Commies, dude. I deserve your stuff. That's what he was screaming. You know what he needed? He needed a smack. Stop him from burning down this, nearly killing
He
everybody.
needed to move to
Is his name
Arizona.
Abdul Karim?
Not Kareem, but it was something.
Yes.
Was it Kareem?
Abdul Karim.
Is that one name?
Is he
Abdul
Muslim?
Karim?
His name's Kamel Abdul Karim.
So is he Muslim?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter if he's
No,
Muslim.
it matters
He's an
because
arsonist.
No, because it matters because what's
Who
happening.
cares if he's Muslim?
Listen,
He's an arsonist.
if you watch
hold
my-
on, is that
listen.
Scott? Is that Scott toilet paper?
Just send him
It's
out.
Kimberly Clark.
Send him home.
Kimberly
It's
Clark.
triple.
Yes, I think
it's
it is.
triple ply. But the point is, the
he
Islamists
wiped
and
the-
communists have been working together.
Oh, yeah.
and that's why I'm interested.
Commune Islam.
Well, yeah, the Red
The
Green
Red Green Alliance. Yeah, I wrote a piece on my Patreon.
I will
about
say
it.
that. I will say
I have a
this.
whole special on it today.
Yeah.
That right
Hour
there
long.
is going to rise the cost of toilet paper in California.
I'm going to Costco right after this.
Shocker.
I mean, I can't be without again. Remember COVID?
I didn't have that issue in New York. Did you have an issue without toilet paper?
No,
I never ran out of toilet paper. Ever.
there-
Or
We didn't.
Bounty in New York? We didn't have that issue.
We didn't because I read the news. And
Did anybody run out of toilet paper for real?
Yes. Yeah. Really? All over the place. The thing is, for us, I read the news every day. So when I heard that there was a shortage, I went to Walmart, grabbed a bunch, and went home. And then like a week or two later, they were like, "Yeah, we're running out."
You know what's crazy funny?
They literally the Walmart near us had very, very little toilet paper. It was nuts.
I remember when Target had like limits. You can.
Oh, I
only buy
remember there was
4.
no
Oh
toilet.
no! Our Walmart was empty.
Yeah.
We filmed it.
Yeah.
On my Instagram, there's no toilet paper anywhere.
Interesting. I mean, in
6
New
years
York,
ago.
we had no issues with like. I mean, I'm sure there were shortages, but like my neck of the woods, we were pretty decent. I mean, we did have one problem with people wanting to hoard whatever they can get their hands on.
But I mean,
How much toilet paper? I think
tissues.
there's still people going through toilet paper from 2020 in New York. I can guarantee you that.
They actually made it. I think it was World War II
look at
in
this.
Canada. It was illegal to hoard wheat or rice or something. They would come and get you if you were trying to.
Yeah.
You guys see
Well,
this?
Cocktails.
Are you
at
kidding?
Sam Altman's house.
Somebody threw a Molotov at Sam Altman's house.
Do you know that I just discovered he's gay?
He is.
I did not know that.
Really?
I don't pay attention to
assumed
him
it.
at all. He just creeps me out, so I didn't pay attention to him ever.
Looks creepy.
Yeah.
He creeps the shit out of me.
Is he putting his brain in a computer? I think I read that he said he's going to.
He's going to. He wants to get his brain
Uploaded.
uploaded. He said that it'll kill him, but
What?
well, yeah. I mean, I guess the way that they actually will digitize your brain, it actually destroys your brain.
Huh.
but then you live forever.
I don't believe
It would be,
that
you know, it'd be
at
really
all.
funny, guys. You
know what you're
he puts the brain cap on, and they're like, "We are uploading," and he's like, "I feel it, it's happening," and then they're like, 65%, 70%, power failure. Oh no, only 70% of his brain got uploaded to the computer.
He's now in the power grid.
He's dead. What? He's dead.
No, they lost
And so they
the
turn
bones in the system. We can't
so
find him.
he's dead, and they turn the computer on, and then they're like, "Sam, we only were able to get 70% of your brain to work. Are you there?" And he goes, "Duh, duh, duh, duh."
Oh, I was seeing
This is a hybrid like of a movie, like Lucy, which is Scarlett Johansson meets Elysium. Like
We
Did you see the Lawnmower Man?
we thought we were expanding his consciousness by uploading, but we only got 70%. So now he's a functional retard.
I strongly think that the human experience is directly connected to your brain, so I don't think that they can upload your brain and you'll actually be conscious in the computer.
No, but the computer would have a facsimile of you.
Yeah, you would still die.
But have you watched Invincible?
or Lucy.
Have you seen Invincible?
Or Lucy.
So the
You can have
character,
a computer.
the character Robot in Invincible, in the beginning, it's a robot called Robot that does all this sci-fi stuff. But then later you find out it's actually a like deformed mutant, hyper intelligent dude in a vat controlling the robot with his mind, and he's like, "I am a person." And so what he does is he takes the genetic material from another guy, clones himself, and copies his mind, creating two versions of himself, and then dies.
Hold on. So you're saying it was? I didn't watch the movie.
The mutant guy kills himself
Okay.
after creating a clone of himself with all his memories.
Wow.
So there is a version of him that exists, but he's actually
I don't love myself enough to do that. I'd rather just like, if I can't be me, I'm not going to make another me.
That's Star Trek canon, basically. Actually, Star Trek canon doesn't make any sense because, so I love the season 6 episode where Picard gets transported and comes back as a child, which makes no sense. But the actual canon of Star Trek is that when you get beamed down, you die,
Oh wow.
and then it reconstitutes you with other matter,
Hold on.
which implies the existence of a soul attached to a
the
form.
house. I'm actually curious to see what a guy like him lives in.
Oh, I don't think so.
I feel bad. This is awful.
They're not gonna post pictures of his
Stop.
house.
Yeah.
What if you take a God angle to this and you're trapped on Earth? And if you upload your consciousness, you're trapped on Earth forever as
No.
ascending?
The joke is it's a meme of a guy smiling. It says me looking up from hell as a robot with a copy of my mind walks around pretending to be me.
That's funny. Yeah. Well,
I figured out how to snap people back to being PCs instead of NPCs.
Did you?
It's quantum wave duality. You observe them, and then the wave collapses into a particle, which is the spirit going into them, and then they like become.
No,
self-aware.
NPCs are real. Let me tell you.
Figure that out.
I was
listening to
I was
people,
talking to someone about this, and we were both talking about how NPCs are a real thing. In that, you could be like walking down the street, and there's someone walking, and if you bump into them, they behave identically to an NPC in a game. They'll like stumble back and go, "Hey, watch it, man," and then go right back to the track and walking like nothing happened. And the actual response is, well, yeah, the guy's going somewhere, you bumped into him, what's he going to do? But in video games, you encounter a lot of people that seemingly can't deviate from a track. They can't do anything out of the ordinary. And that's
My father.
the NPCs.
The difference of the game is, in reality, if you observe someone, they'll be like, "Is someone watching me?" Like that men who stare at goats. In a video game, I've yet to see that in a game yet, but they'll start introducing that.
That's kind of my dad. You just described my dad. Like he's like a horse, narrow vision. Like he picks a path. Like nothing deters him from making that. Like you cannot distract him.
What's up with that? Every time I drive down the road, I see cows. And you know what those cows are doing? Nothing. They're just standing. And I'm like, I always point out to my wife, I go, there's another horse literally just standing and staring. There's a cow literally just, one time we were driving and a cow was walking. I went, oh, it's walking. Mm-hmm. Like literally we drive by the cows and they're all just standing there not moving.
Yeah, great.
Sometimes you see them eating. Sometimes the horses are eating, but I'm like, my wife goes like, what do you expect them to be doing? And I'm like, I don't know.
Walking,
like
mooing to one another.
Yeah, yelling. I don't know, running around.
Parked out front
do
of
that in India.
a farm like a couple months ago. I was driving.
Oh, because they're not at risk of death in India. That's why.
They just walk the roads, yeah.
The one cow was like, no, because there was a family of cows, and I parked to like do my GPS, and the one mama cow started yelling because it was like warning, hey, there's a guy here looking at me, and I was just like, thanks, guys.
And in India, I guess they interact more just because they're not at risk of being killed.
We got to get questions. Brian Major Threat says, Tim, that's what cattle do. I'm like, I know, they just stand there. Guys in the Discord, let's get your questions in now. Start asking away. We're going to pull those in for you guys and for everybody else watching. If you want to get into the hour-long bonus pre-show on Fridays when we do these pre-records, you got to join at timcast.com, and then you can actually have your questions asked on the show as we bring them up now. And we'll see what you guys have to say. And we're still waiting.
I got a question to start it up while they're coming in. Okay, if the world is doing the most heinous genetic engineering of humans, AI experiment, would it then be ethical for us to also be doing it?
Well, I mean,
Let's say the Chinese and the Russians are making super soldiers secretly in laboratories.
I don't think someone else doing something makes it ethical for you to do it. If it's ethical, then it's ethical for you and for other people to do it. If it's unethical or it's not ethical for them to do it. Now the question.
Pause.
What?
It's unethical to do a lot of things in this country that it's completely fine to do in other countries. Are you talking from a moral or from a civil?
So when I say ethical, I mean moral standpoint.
Moral. Okay.
And that doesn't mean that the U.S. isn't going to do unethical stuff.
I got a question. Is it ethical to create human hybrids of any kind of species?
No.
Why?
Because what's the name of that? Titan. Did you ever watch that movie Titan that they create? Why? You guys don't watch movies. I've referenced like 5 movies today. Damn it. So there's this movie Titan. What they're trying to do is get, I think it's Matt Damon, if I'm not mistaken, the actor in the movie. They're trying to turn humans.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah. It's not Matt Damon. It's
who is it? It's not Matt Damon. It's one of those.
Yeah, the movie was weird.
It's strange, but they're trying to get them to Titan, one of the Jupiter moons.
Moons of Jupiter, yeah.
Dude,
It's Sam Worthington.
there you go.
And so they turn them into aliens.
They cease to become humans in that concept.
But they become retarded is the problem.
Well, not retarded. They don't communicate anymore.
No. They become retarded and start killing people for no reason.
Well, they become aggressive. Yeah.
But that's retardation. Like if you lose higher cognitive function and you can't communicate and you're just an animal running around and killing people, like you're retarded.
Well, he doesn't. The female version does it.
He does too.
No, he doesn't kill anybody. In the movie, she does. She kills her husband.
Well, but he cheats on his wife, and they lose higher cognitive function when they do it.
It's true.
But again, like, why is it unethical? So let's say there's
that.
But that's saying that specific thing is unethical. Let me put it this way: if there was an alien race that lived twice as long and was super strong, and was compatible with humans, like let's say a Kryptonian, if they could hybridize a human Kryptonian, is it wrong to do?
A bunch of Supermen? Is that what you're saying?
I'd say a bunch, but like, would one be a problem? A kid is born, and then as he starts getting older, he starts realizing he can fly and he's really strong. Is that a problem?
No.
Brightburn was freaky. You see that movie?
No.
Brightburn is a horror movie based off Superman, where the kid, the spaceship crashes. The parents find the kid. The kid they start raising as one of their own, and once he starts getting powers, he's basically like, I can do whatever I want. You can't tell him what to do. Starts killing people. Has laser eyes.
Sort of. I don't know if the act of hybridization is ethical. It's like, why are you doing it? Because if your whole civilization is going to get wiped out and you do a secret gene splicing program to survive, and then your species survives,
You need humanzees to fight the other ones. Right.
yeah, people that can swing through trees.
The Anunnaki conspiracy theory is that we are effectively humanzees. The Anunnaki theory is that aliens hybridized a species from themselves and Earth creatures to be able to do labor. But the first hybrids were intelligent and understood the nature of reality, that is, their connection with God and things like that. And so they rebelled, saying, this makes no sense. So the aliens created another dumber species based off of primates.
Democrats.
Us. Yes. we are specialists that can do any job, but we can't understand the nature of reality. We only have faith. So that's I got to read some questions, though. We got Monster Mangler. He says, question for the crew. If this is all a simulation and animals like cows and pigs are farmable mobs, doesn't that just make vegetarians, vegans silly for ignoring all the free XP wandering around? Yes.
Yes.
Also, can I get a shout out for my daughter Fiona? Today is her birthday. She's always singing Together Again and Divine around the house. Happy birthday, Fiona.
birthday.
Those animals can be player characters too. They just don't have much abilities.
You can't be a
They
They have like,
birthday.
oh, happy birthday, dude! They have like an attack
Not dude,
ability.
his daughter.
They have, like, charge.
Tim, can you give him the kid's name again, please?
Yeah, who's the kid?
Fiona.
Fiona.
Happy birthday.
Thank you for watching and
birthday,
listening.
Fiona.
Bro, you
That's
can't
actually
play
awesome.
cows,
Good job.
dude. The only character
Yeah, you
choices
play
are
cow,
human.
but you can always, you become a cow in a game every once in a while. You only have like attack is number 1 or charge ahead is number 2.
That's a game where you
That's
get
all
turned into a cow, like polymorph or
Yeah,
something.
you
turn into a
can't.
sheep.
They just don't have abilities like we have. We have like regenerate, run, sprint. I mean, some animals can.
Bro, they
You can
don't
really,
have-
like, choose to do it.
They don't have the ability to communicate effectively as if there's a player.
Yeah, they don't have that.
So they're not playable characters. When before life starts, you got to choose your difficulty. You got to choose like region and like if you pick Uganda, Sudan, you're like hard.
But I think you can go in and out of controlling different people and different characters.
that was a South Park joke. When it said choose your difficulty, it was a slider between black and white.
Like you're,
Everybody got mad, but it was funny.
It is funny.
they kind of. I think the spirits bounce in and around and go in and out of people and choose to control them during certain times, and then they'll leave if
That's
you
called
become
possession.
Interesting, yeah. And lots
a
of them will
bad
try and
thing.
control you at the same time and stuff like that.
People of weak will and low mental fortitude.
I mean, on the subject of possession, though, what's up with all this demonic possession theory that they're all claiming? Alex
Aliens.
Jones, I mean,
Because they're putting a religious view on the alien story.
They're starting to figure
They believe that aliens are demons and that the Bible was describing these interdimensional entities when it says demons.
Nephilim.
They really
Well, the
are.
Nephilim are the hybrid.
Oh, yeah.
Spirit creatures that are doing that, but they're just figuring it out through their language, which is religion.
okay.
Taylor Loren's ex-wife says, shout out Olivia Dasovec, crushing it as the new Discord leader. That's right. For everybody who doesn't know, we brought on Olivia formally to help work with the Discord community to make sure that everyone's needs are met. Community engagement, essentially, running the show.
She's great.
She's been fantastic.
She was here earlier today.
Very good.
Is she the one that I was interacting with earlier?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Probably, yeah.
Sinoski says, Tim, George said he believes in aliens when asked, while at the same time saying he was briefed. I do question if he has been briefed on anything that has shifted his belief one way or another. Has any brief you've ever received changed your...
Yes.
Oh,
That's a great question.
that's a good one.
Can you
Yeah,
tell?
but you don't know what my beliefs were before.
Can you tell if the briefings are lying to you ever?
They can't lie to 500 members of Congress.
Well, I mean, come on.
members of Congress.
Like
that would be a very interesting.
They lied about
choice.
NSA spying.
No, I understand, but
Weapons. of
Unless they
mass
it's a
did.
little different. So there's different levels of briefings and clearances, but this is a very broad general briefing that. Why would you bring in every single member of Congress and the Senate and give them a briefing if you're going to lie to them? Just don't do anything at all.
To control
Right.
the narrative?
Don't do anything at all. No. There's no narrative to control.
So what was the thing? You shifted. What was the thing?
Huh?
What was the thing you changed your mind about?
No, I just answered the question. Nobody asked me about anything else.
Yeah, but I'm curious to know what was
That's
the
too
thing.
bad. That's not. You're right.
We got a question from.
Subscribe and do a super chat, and then I'll answer it.
We got a question from John Christen. He says, whatever happened to the culture war? An episode with Phil as hosting, interviewing Raymond Ibrahim, a scholar and author on Islamic history, would be interesting. Phil, check out his videos, Two Swords of Satan, and Islamic Practice of Lying Taqiyya.
Yeah.
So the culture war channel is still there. I've been doing the daily 4 p.m.s, which are like what I was doing before back in the day with the original channel. We are doing a culture war debate with the Harmon brothers on the 24th. That's what we're scheduling. The issue is that it got to the point where we felt we were forcing debates and conversations that we have to get a show. And so we're like, who are we going to have on the show? And then instead of saying what's going on in the world that we're trying to discuss in greater detail, we were like, let's just get this guy and this guy. And then it was kind of just So we said, we'll do them when we have the reason to do them, which is why the Animal Farm movie debate is going to happen. And we are going to be scheduling the live events coming up soon and have those Culture War shows as well. Let's see what we got going on. Stork says, Oracle just fired 30% of their Texas staff, which is over 1,000 people, and hired 2,690 H-1Bs in Texas, more than doubling the Texas staff. AI is just actually Indian. F this ish. Indeed. Remember that company that said it was an AI coding program, but it turned out it was just 700 Indians?
Yeah.
It's true.
That's why the responses
They were
make
like,
no
we used-
sense sometimes.
So essentially,
Yeah.
they were like the human computer versions of NASA back in the first mission to the moon.
It was a company where it was like, sign up and we'll code your app for you.
Remember
But it was
those?
actually just a bunch of Indian guys.
Is that what it was? Just like 50 people in a room doing?
It was like 700 Indian guys in a room in India coding apps for people.
And you're saying the original NASA computer was a bunch of dudes in a room doing?
A bunch of dudes is
Like
predominantly women and a lot of women of color actually at the time as they reference them. Yep.
Oh, but
Black
they didn't
women.
They weren't giving them publicity at the time. Is that? the
They
scandal,
made
is it?
they did a recent didn't they do a whole movie on this subject on this genre? Damn it, what was it? Hidden Figures.
Oh,
They did a whole movie on it. It's actually well done.
Have you
too.
seen these interviews, though, where like there's a Times Square video where some guy asks this black woman about reparations, and the black woman goes like, well, black people invented everything. White people just stole it. Like, we invented the light bulb, and we invented spaceships, and like these are the stuff that they're putting out.
So there's a theory, not spaceships, that would be
Yakub?
grotesque, but there's a theory that it was black women in NASA who calculated the actual correct math. And again, this is depicted and credited in
And Snape is
by
black,
NASA.
too.
Huh?
And Snape is black, too.
No, of course not.
He
I'm
is.
just saying that there is a credible
Snape is black.
now in HBO. But my point I'm saying is there is credit to black women having contributed.
Sure. I just want to stress,
space exploration.
it's looking like the Harry Potter show might bomb.
I don't think it's actually going to happen anymore at this point.
What?
Well, it's HBO.
Yeah.
Right? HBO is getting purchased.
Oh, interesting.
Do you know I actually
Wait. Is that part of the Ellison thing or no?
Yeah, HBO is a
Warner?
Warner Bros company. Yeah. What are you talking about?
It is?
Yes. Wow. This is a monumental
Bro, if the Ellisons, after the acquisition,
Knicks. But here's
reshoot it with a new Snape like Adam Driver, it will be like parades, dude. People will be like, woo!
and it's crazy because even J.K. Rowling, she's not saying anything outwardly about it, but it's like, why is there a need to appease something?
And Hermione's mixed race. Mudblood.
Which is I guess that's what they're calling mixed people now, mudblood.
Well, I was saying that
It's
for
an
a long
on the
time.
nose offense, in my opinion. It's kind of offensive, low key. If it's like, oh, you're a mudblood, you're biracial.
Well, I've been saying that forever since because that was the allegory she was making.
Yeah.
But now that they have a mixed race Hermione, Draco calling her a mudblood means a lot different thing.
Did you guys see the AI? Are you the boy who dripped? And they're like,
Oh yeah, the
Like shit.
Balenciaga thing.
it is amazing. It is, that's
No,
the movie I
no.
want to watch.
No.
This
No.
is Snape. He's just in from Atlanta.
I
And
gotta
it's-
I gotta send you
No,
something.
Griffin
soon.
dripping.
No.
Check it out.
Ian. You are lost.
Hundreds of thousands of likes on social media right
Ian,
now.
you are lost. I'm going to show you
the
something.
best AI thing
It's the
I've
last
seen
thing we're
yet.
going to do before we wrap up because we got to go. But you got to see this.
Bro.
Like that, neighbor.
Watch this. Watch this.
Previously on
I never did like that, neighbor. Hey, guys! Is it cool if I send this to TMZ?
this summer. A new business. is born.
Can they not see me?
From director Taylor Chin comes a movie like never before.
There are millions of neighborhoods in America. You know what every one of them has?
Tell me.
Bullies.
He destroyed my entire garden. He's such an asshole.
It's 3 a.m. in the morning, you asshole! Shut the fuck up! I posted the video, and we received over 429,000 people requesting our bully protection services. What do you think?
When do we start?
The best things in life are free.
Why is your shirt off? Marketing 101. Free attention, zero ad spend. And besides, the women love it.
Hi.
And what about him?
Ah, fuck it, still counts. DoorDash, bitch!
Are you Dan the man? Yes, and who the fuck are you?
Bullies come in all shapes and sizes.
What do you two bitches want? He's evil, I tell you. I'm not sure how you plan to get rid of him. Be careful, he's really dangerous.
Hey, boys. Can I help you?
Has anyone ever told you that you look exactly like Channing fucking Tatum?
Who's that?
You don't know who you look exactly like? Bro.
It's like we're really looking at Channing fucking Tatum.
I'm not Channing Tatum, bitch!
This summer, peace and quiet are negotiable. John Cena, Alan Richson, and not Channing Tatum.
I'm not Channing Tatum.
Dude,
That's funny.
AI is just getting crazier and crazier and crazier.
This is crazy that this is AI. Did you see what I just sent you on the there? Don't
Where did you send it?
I texted it to you. It's
I'll check it later.
link. It's freaking revolts.
We're gonna wind things down, everybody.
Yeah,
it's about wrapping it up. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. We got clips coming up throughout the weekend. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. George, you want to shout anything out?
Yes, absolutely. Tim, thank you for having me. To everybody watching, thank you for always tolerating me. And always remember to follow George Santos on Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else you like to get commentary. And I'm going to shamelessly plug myself. My podcast, Doing Time with George Santos, uploads every week twice, and you should go check it out because it is hysterical. See you next time.
That sounds great. Well, I'm not as fun as George, but if you want to get real news, the facts, and then hear my opinion, you could watch David Pollack Primetime on the One American News Network, and that's really available in a lot of places, but you can always download the OAN Live app and watch it anytime on demand. That's the best way. That's how I watch it. But yeah, check it out. There's no shortage of opinions in the marketplace, so what I do is I lead facts first and then tell you what you think, and then I want to know what you think. So David Pollack Primetime, One American News Network, 7 p.m. Eastern, at David Pollack USA on all social media platforms, Pollack at David Pollack USA. Thanks, Tim. This has been so much fun.
Oh, thanks for coming.
I've been a fan for a long time, and now I'm sitting at this table in this room.
So cool.
I can't believe you brought George. You ruined the experience for me.
Oh,
but other than that, I've had a fantastic time. Thank you so much for having me. This is an honor.
Coming, man. At Ian Crossland, you find me at Ian Crossland on the internet, and go to graphene.movie, sign up for the newsletter. That's coming out pretty soon. I've seen that we have a few edits in the pipe. That's all I got for now. Catch you later.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. If you want to read about some of the stuff that I've been writing, it's on my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Phil That Remains. We're going on tour. We're starting in, All That Remains is going on tour, that is. We're starting in Albany on April 29th. We go until the end of May. You can get tickets at allthatremainsonline.com. If you want to check out the band's music, it's Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, or Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime. Carter.
Dude, this has been one of my favorite episodes so far. I have to say, I think we've covered pretty much everything. So, David and George, thank you for coming back out, and
thank you.
Really pumped for this episode. You can follow me at Carter Banks everywhere, and at Carter Banks Official everywhere else. Follow our record label at Trash House Records on YouTube. And goodbye, Tim.
Pay no attention to the man sitting in the back either.
This is Brando.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody. We got clips throughout the weekend. We're back, of course, on Monday, and we'll see y'all then.